Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here. It is Monday morning. The Raptors took care of business in the first game against the Charlotte Hornets yesterday. An impressive victory, a very dominant victory, a victory that I was thinking was going to happen just because of the personnel the Hornets are putting out on the court at this time. You saw it. Svimaholic. It's the Svimaholic show. And he looked good. I like seeing Svi making all those shots and doing things like that. Well, they needed him to do that because they really don't have any of their regular players healthy right now. So we obviously needed to beat them, cover the score, and get a good chunky lead against them and win by a big margin, which we did. We accomplished that. In fact, we accomplished more than that yesterday. We accomplished franchise records yesterday. Fred VanVleet breaking the Raptors single game assist record for the team for the history, 20 assists. Nobody has ever gotten 20 assists for the Raptors until yesterday. And that's amazing to me because I would have thought Jose did at some point. Jose Calderon. There's been a couple other point guards in our past that I thought could have gotten close, but there were three that were very close. Kyle, Damon Stoudemire, Jose Calderon, and now Fred has beaten the record. Fred is the only player out of all the franchises in the NBA that currently plays for his team that has the record for most points and most assists for his franchise in the history. That there's only one other guy who's done this in the history right now, presently holding those records for their franchise, and that is Wilt Chamberlain, who holds the scoring and assist record for, I believe, the Warriors, guys. Not even for the Sixers, for the Warriors. So very interesting stuff. Fred doing stuff that only Wilt Chamberlain has done otherwise. So you would think, people in Raptors Nation would honor this. You would think that people would think this is an amazing thing that Fred did this. I mean, honestly, how unselfish can you be in 20 assists? Seriously, how unselfish can you be? Or are you selfish? Some people think he is. It's crazy. On Twitter, Fred propaganda is all over it. He's really on it today. He's just coming after these people. These are some of the comments that people have left about Fred in the game last night. Excellent stat padding game by Fred. It's a shame he only shows up for bottom feeder teams. Oh my gosh. OG got injured. Wouldn't be surprised if they struggled against Charlotte with him out next game. Okay, these comments are just from assholes. And then I'd appreciate this record if he hadn't missed all of his shots. Oh my gosh, people, you cannot be happy, it seems, in situations. And then the last one, if Fred can convince a team to give him a $30 million contract extension because he can stat pad against a bunch of G Leaguers good, just don't let it be the Raptors. This team sucks. Blow it up. Rebuild around Scottie. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. People's hate for Fred is so irrationally bad right now. Like, seriously, this is so stupid. Why can't y'all get on board with liking him or understanding that this guy is good for our team? I mean, can you not see what he did last night? How he hooked up everybody on our team with assists pretty much? How we had like a crazy amount of assists as a team in this game, 38 assists, which is 13 more than my target total that I want for sure. There's so many good things about what Fred did yesterday. And so what if it was a slouch opponent? So what if it was this or this? In some ways, this is really important to take care of business against an easy opponent like that. That in some ways, these can be trap games where guys just don't come with the right effort and they lose something they shouldn't have lost. I mean, there were signs of that possibly could have happened last night when they started coming back. They got within 10, and they were kind of seeming like they were going to try and make a late push to threaten and try and take over the game at the end. But no, the Raptors held fast. And in fact, Siakam was very interesting. He started very, very slow. In fact, I was mad at Siakam when the game started, even though it was his birthday. I felt like he was being lazy out there. I saw him not giving a good effort in the first couple minutes of the game. And I was like, Nick, you need to bench Siakam on his birthday right away. Put him on the bench and teach him a little bit of a lesson just for a little while. Like, hey, you're not coming out there with the right energy. because he was slow on defense. He wasn't paying attention when Scottie hit him with the transition pass that would have been beautiful if he had caught it and dunked. He wasn't in tune with the game right off the bat of the jump ball. So sometimes what a coach will do when a player has flat energy, just a singular player, they'll take that guy out just for a second, give him a reality check, and put somebody else in. And I was kind of hoping Nick would do that with Pascal, but he didn't. He let him figure it out there. But by the end of the game, Siakam had a huge game. By the end of the game, Siakam, 36 points, plus 16, 16 at 24 shooting. Wow. That is just fantastic shooting. That is so good. 2 of 7 from 3. He hit both his free throws, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. Siakam and Fred are my top 2 stars. Obviously, Fred's going to be the number 1 star just for breaking the franchise record. But Siakam's a very close second star with 36 points. Just he was dealing. By the end of the game, he really perked up and woke up and did a whole bunch of really good stuff. And I was really proud of Siakam for doing this. Listen, last game, Fred and Pascal didn't show up against Philadelphia, and this game they did. And in some ways, other guys didn't show up yesterday as much. That's what I'm saying to y'all, that every game is different with defenses, and they give us different things at different times. And depending on the team we're playing, they may cut off the water on Pascal. They may try and totally stifle Fred. Then Scottie may have the green light, and it's easier for him. Or it may be the opposite. Maybe they're stopping Scottie and OG, and then it means Pascal and Fred have more open opportunities. Sometimes it really is, as Fred said after the game, how the defense dictates the game for them to pick them apart. That is the main reason why there's differences in stat outcomes at the end of games with individual Raptors, night in, night out, is the defense gives them different things, and they go in different ways. Water runs in different ways depending on elevation of land. Well, this is going to run into that groove. Well, if that groove is feeding into Scottie Barnes, well, then he'll get a whole bunch of shots. Now, if that water is rolling down another way, it may go right into Fred's water pile to go into him. So it really is a lot of has to do with, we don't determine before the game, if you crazy Raptors Nation people, oh, Fred will have 25 and he should have 15 assists, and Pascal should have 26 and Scottie should have 28. And you can't just pick the numbers and say, oh, this is how it's going to go. No, they get out there, they start playing, and the defense shows them opportunities on their end and shows them the way to go, kind of the easiest way, or not the easiest way, but just like where the weakness is, where the things that they need to do are. And that means different people will get different shots. And sometimes those people will get good shots and miss them. Sometimes people get good shots and make them. Sometimes we'll have bad shots and try and force them and miss them. Sometimes they'll have bad shots and they'll make them anyways. So, it's determined by the defense, and then also if they're actually making the shots. So there's a lot more to it than just, hey, these guys need to score this every single time. Jimmy's here. Good to see Pope of Positivity first in today, saying, let's get the next one. Well, we should. We damn for sure should. We're sitting at 39 wins now for the season. Atlanta did unfortunately beat the Dallas Mavericks in the game later in the night. We were in that 8th spot for a little while yesterday afternoon, but then Dallas couldn't get the job done, and we're getting screwed over by Kyrie Irving once again. We play against the Nets when they have Kyrie Irving, and he plays out of his mind and dominates in fourth quarter periods and wins games against us with the Nets. He gets traded to the Mavs at the trade deadline, and now he's fucking us up in the reverse by being inept and an idiot and fouling Trae Young in the last couple seconds of overtime to allow the Atlanta Hawks to win a 2-point victory, a very close victory over the really horrible, hopeless, sad sack piece of crap Dallas Mavericks that have turned into that since Irving showed up. Kyrie, man, you're like public enemy number 1 this year for us. The year before, we didn't see you a whole lot because of vaccines and pandemics. Well, this year we have had our share of your fuckery and your bullshit messing us up. And last night it was indirectly with ineptitude that honestly, everybody's saying that foul that you caused on Trae Young was so unnecessary and so stupid, Kyrie Irving, that, Mark Cuban's got to be pulling his hair out about acquiring you this midseason and realizing he may have done some serious damage to his team and just from having you around and for just such a short period of time. Holy crap. You have been such a horrible addition to the Mavs. And it could be dangerous for them, whereas they lose Doncic because of this, and somehow some weird fucked up way. So yeah, you good job, Dallas Mavericks, you idiots. And why couldn't you take care of business against the Hawks last night? You jabronis. Oh my gosh. Well, we're gonna have to beat the Hornets the second game and hope that the Hawks start losing some of these next couple games. Because yeah, I don't want to play two play-in games. I want to play one and done, get it done, get through, and get that matchup with the second seed. I don't want to mess around and have to be in that second play-in game, playing for a matchup with the first seed. No, we want to have one and done, beat Miami, and get into the second seed with Boston or Philly. I don't care, whichever one those two finish there. Nameless is saying Pascal sold on an additional 2 assists for Fred late in the fourth, and I'm pissed. Should have been 22. Well, there were a lot of missed assists and a lot of missed opportunities. That's why it makes it so special that he made 20 assists in that game, because the guy's got to make it. In fact, Fred gave glowing credit to his teammates yesterday. I mean, everybody who thinks he's not a team player, you're idiots. Go watch every interview he did after the game last night and listen to him giving all the credit to his teammates making the shots, that he can't make the assists if his teammates don't make the shots. And he was very, very proud of them for that. In fact, he diffused all the things on him, off of him, to everybody else. And he really wasn't very egotistical about getting the record. In fact, he said things like, I haven't really appreciated the scoring record, but more and more in time I have. That the more I get away from it, and then I realized 54, wow, that was really impressive. That was really incredible. And maybe it'll be like that with this assist record. This is seriously very impressive. And Raptors Nation that doesn't get Fred the hero, Fred the impressive Raptor, you're idiots. Seriously. If we could just cut you guys out of our Raptors Nation and let you guys go somewhere else, that would be great. Because I'm just sick of the Fred haters. You guys got no ammunition at this point. In fact, y'all are grasping at such desperate straws that you're fucking idiots if you think he stat padded last night. If that's going to be your gripe for him, he's stat padding. He's stat padding. Well, this is great. We're winning. He's causing baskets for other people. I don't care how you describe it. You can use whatever vernacular you want. He got stats, yeah, but he did it in a very productive, positive way that was helpful to the team, not taking away from the team, and also making them win. You idiots. Oh my gosh. So stupid. Now, Nameless is just like shots. Some of the assists should go through, but there's going to be some missed field goals. There's going to be some missed assist opportunities. And yeah, Pascal, and sometimes with Scottie and his passing, he's such a threat to pass at any time with his vision that these guys need to be ready for it. And like that first play where Siakam and were on the break, the disconnect between Scottie and Pascal in that play was too bad. But I really think it was because Siakam wasn't ready to play when the jump ball started. That he had to get right. He had to work his way into the game. He wasn't totally woken up or ready. And that quick pass and transition from Scottie right at the beginning of the game, he just wasn't ready for it. And I was like, okay, yeah. And then something else happened. Scottie got hurt. At one point, Scottie got hurt early in the game, and I'm like, this game is not important enough to run Scott out there and risk further injury. In fact, there were 2 instances in the game yesterday, where I thought that Nick needed to pull main Raptors out of the game and not play them anymore. So OG was the other one. We saw late in the game, OG twisted his ankle, and the early returns on this is Dr. Alex told Nick after the game that it's a mild sprain. And there's nothing really seriously wrong with OG. But it looked so bad when he hurt himself in the game. And it looked bad when Scott was hurt in the game. And I'm like, don't fuck around, Nick. These guys are our future. And I get pissed when we don't pay attention to injury happening on the court and we see guys hobbling around, especially a game against a shitty team like Charlotte. There's no reason that you need to continue playing those guys and risk further injury. In fact, you left them out there at times. And I know they may be saying, no, I'm okay. But err on the side of caution, Nick. I really get mad at seeing this happening this year in the NBA. Where do you guys value timeouts so much? Or you just like, there's no rules in the game for like helping a player that's injured not further injure themselves by continuing to make them run up and down the court when they're obviously hurt. This happens a couple times this season, and it pisses me off. Y'all need to get these commodities, these guys that are like a lot of money invested in them and for the future out of there if they're in this kind of shape, especially against an opponent that you don't need them out there. Seriously, Nick, don't play Scottie if his ankle's twisted or his hand's hurt. Don't play OG if he twists his ankle for the rest of the game. Keep them out. Play some youngsters. Let some other guys come up and take those minutes against an opponent where they can compete, because that's definitely what the Charlotte Hornets are right now. And, we want to save these guys for later. So as soon as I saw any hobbling by Scottie or OG on the court, I was like, get them the fuck out, Nick. Get them out now. It was pissing me off. Nick did get back in my good graces yesterday, though. Listen, this is crazy. I'm going to read a couple more of the comments, and I'll tell you why in a second. Nameless is also saying, is Poeltl now the most valuable member on this team? People have the audacity to call that trade an overpayment. I don't know what they mean about overpayment. Like, we're not paying him. They mean because we gave up a draft pick? Is that what they're talking about? That we overtraded because we traded our draft pick for him? A lot of people are upset about this draft pick. Like, they're like, oh my gosh, we lost the draft pick for Jakob. Once again, I'm very much like Masai. We don't value draft picks like the rest of the league. Well, get it together, Raptors Nation. Draft picks, schmaff trick. We don't give a shit about draft picks. We need draft picks to make ourselves better? No, we don't. And honestly, who would you rather have a prospect? Someone we have no fucking idea whether they're ever going to be a good NBA player, or a guy who's already an established, very good NBA center. A center, too. It's a center. It's a guy who's in a position that we've had a really hard time filling. So anybody who has a problem with what we paid for to get Poeltl, to get on our team, you're idiots. Once again, you are absolute idiots. Our stats are out of the wazoo with him here, and we are in real good shape with him. So, yeah, they're crazy. They're crazy. People are going to say whatever stupid-ass bullshit that they feel like saying. And that is absolute stupid-ass take. Overpaying for Poeltl? Yeah, right. We haven't even signed him this summer. We'll have to see how we get him on our contract. He's still on that San Antonio contract right now. And in some ways, it's not that bad what he's getting paid. Seriously. Nameless is also saying, when Poeltl is pissed off, he's a mean-looking guy. I wouldn't want to face him. Laugh out loud, my Austrian brother. Are you Austrian, Nameless? All right. You guys are Austrian. Well, you're teaching me Italian all the time. Or maybe you're Italian and he's your brother because Austria and Italy are border brothers. I get it. Listen, he's got a fire in him for sure. I really love this. You know what Poeltl does after the game? Very often, Jakob Poeltl will teach the press and us about what's going on in the game. In fact, he's so good at explaining X's and O's in a clear way that in some ways, Jakob Poeltl is doing the work of Jack Armstrong and Leo Rautins, teaching us the sport of basketball. In fact, he's teaching us things about the Raptors specifically and what they're doing right now in such a detailed, clear way that our basketball IQ as a fan nation is going up if you listen to Jakob Poeltl in interviews. You just got to listen to him and understand what he's saying. He will tell you exactly what's going on out there, and it's amazing because he's so good at describing it and explaining it. He's an excellent teacher. In fact, let's go look at Jakob's write-up for the game last night. Let me just bring it up real quick. I should have brought it up before. I should realize this is a new segment on the show, the Jakob Poeltl report. And we got to make sure we get it in here. All right, this is what Jakob said about the game last night. With a 128-108 win at the Charlotte Hornets, we have clinched a spot in the play-in tournament. We'll try our best in the remaining 4 regular season games to put ourselves in a good position for the postseason. JP19, Toronto Raptors. You go, Jakob Poeltl. Great job last night. In fact, you are my third star of the game. A fantastic, actually, no, OG's my third star, but Jakob's a very close fourth star. Jakob, 8 of 12, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 4 blocks, 16 points, 4 offensive rebounds. Now, that's messed up because last night I looked at this stat and it said he had 5 blocks. So obviously the NBA took away a block from him. And that's kind of messed up because honestly, Jakob was a monster around the basket. He could make anything he wanted, and he was blocking a lot of shots too. In fact, I think they robbed Koloko and Poeltl of a block each because I'm only seeing 4 now because Poeltl had 5 blocks last night when I looked at the box score. So these motherfuckers went and took a block away from him. And then Koloko, he only had 1 block last night. That didn't make sense. It seemed like he had more blocks in the game last night. The announcers for the other team, Del Curry is the color guy for the Hornets. They were talking about how Poeltl was just unstoppable last night and doing whatever he wanted to against the Charlotte Hornets down low. That he just made everything near the basket, rebounded like crazy, blocking shots. And that's true. 8 of 12, shooting 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 4 blocks. It was 5 last night, though. OG, my third star of the game, 9 of 13 from the field, 5 of 6 from 3. Once again, he's electric from the three-point line. This guy has some of the highest three-point shooting percentage since the All-Star break this year. In fact, they were quoting stats about him against the Charlotte Hornets specifically, saying that in the history of the Charlotte Hornets, that OG Anunoby has one of the highest three-point field goal percentages against them. And he totally helped that last night. 5 of 6 from 3, just so good at the three-point line. 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 23 points for OG, another plus 16 on our team. Just a fantastic job by Pascal, OG, Fred, Poeltl, and even Scottie. Scottie didn't score as much, but he was solid. 6 for 12 from the field, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals and a block, 12 points at a plus 15. Scottie not scoring as much as he did the game before. But, that's how it goes. The water divide goes different places. But I'm sure Scottie fans or those weird Scottie fans like he who shall not be named are freaking out because Scottie didn't get the shots. Those guys are ball hogs, taking the ball from them so much. So mean to Scottie. Oh, my gosh. So stupid. Makes me mad. All right, Space Cadet's saying so much to discuss today. Nick snaps at female reporter for questioning his previous statements, and FredHaters try to invalidate history. That's pretty good summation of a lot of things from yesterday. Listen, what he did yesterday, Nick, to Lindsey Dunn in the pregame press conference before the Charlotte game yesterday was fantastic. It's exactly what I needed to hear from Nick. Seriously, I'm so happy Nick did that because he showed me he cared. It's like he tapped back in. He said, I'm back in, guys. Tap. He's like, no, Lindsey, shut up. I don't want to answer your damn questions about this. This is the 3rd game in a row. I don't want to answer the questions about this. And he's like totally mad. You can tell. And obviously he's mad because the last game and what happened after he said that shit before the Philly game. He knows he fucked up, but you know what? He did some really smart things in the game press conferences yesterday that made me feel like, all right, maybe he does still care about coaching the Raptors. And maybe he does still want this job. And that made me happy because I don't want to feel like he doesn't want this job if he's still doing it. I don't want to feel like that until you're gone. So don't, even if you are on your way out, Nick, just fool me for now. Act. Do a little bit of thespian arts and act like you're very happy. But you really showed a passion yesterday that you do give a damn about the Raptors. You do give a damn about the rest of the season. You do give a damn about the play-in. You do give a damn about our team. In fact, you said to Lindsey Dunn when she harassed you about those questions, I'm sick of those questions too, by the way. Press, go away with those questions. We understand that Nick is in a stressful spot and that he needs some time to take off and figure out what his future is going to be. We've got that covered now. Let's not press further with it and just overdo it. That's why he's upset. And he's like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I had a moment of honesty and maybe outspokenness that I wish I had not had on Friday. And I let my guard down. And sometimes I'm a little too honest with you guys in the press. Maybe I say a little bit too much than is for my own good. So I think that has a big part of it, is that Nick is so outspoken with the press. Normally, he does just really speak his mind. He didn't really think about the implications of how he spoke on Friday. And now he's showing that fire that I am so happy to see. He said, no, I want to talk about the team. I want to talk about the players. I want to talk about the games. That's what matters to me right now. That's what he said. That's literally what he said before the game in anger. That, fuck this. I'm not talking about myself anymore. I don't give a shit about what I said the other day anymore. I give a shit about this team and this team winning right now. And I want to talk about my team, my players, and winning games. And I was like, yes, Nick, finally, he's back. He's back in. And that made me feel so happy. That feistiness that he showed to Lindsey Dunn was a sign to me of good faith, a sign that he hasn't totally checked out, that he was angry. And in some ways, he's probably angry at himself. Some ways he's angry at the press, and he's angry at the whole situation. But at least he showed that he has a fire in him that still burns with desire to help this team win right now. And that's all I needed to see, Nick. Thank you. Now I can, I feel bad about going off on you all weekend because you showed the real you finally, once again. Now continue in this direction. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Nick, for being no nonsense and doing this and saying it like that to them before the game. Thank you so much, because I needed to know that you gave a shit. I really did. And you showed that you did when you got mad at Lindsey Dunn. Thank you. Now, about the FredHaters trying to invalidate history. They're so stupid. Why can't we have normal people in our fan nation that can, like, look at this. This is a franchise record. This is like 30 years of this team. And this guy goes out and does this. And meanwhile, everybody's trying to figure out a way to critique him. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Seriously. Like, is that guy that's an idiot on YouTube, he who shall not be named, had been such an influence in our nation that people are just like, figuring out ways to critique Fred for no reason at all. They're just making up bullshit because there's nothing Fred did yesterday. All right, your critique is that he didn't shoot that well. Oh my gosh. He was 7 of 17, which isn't absolutely horrible. The 1 of 8 at 3, that sucks. And of course he wishes he had made a couple more of those. But the impressive stat of 20 points and 20 assists, and listen, anybody who thinks he was stat padding to do that, that's bullshit. Because honestly, he had the 19 assists at the end of the third quarter, and he coasted to get to 20. It's not like he was going out and hunting it. It's not like he was going like and fucking up the game for other people to be selfish to get it. There's none of that. He did it in the natural flow of the game, and he did it in a very honest, good way. And anybody's critical of him for getting 20 assists, one of the most unselfish things you can do in an NBA game. You're a fucking idiot at this point. Seriously, you think he's selfish? You think he's fucking selfish? Well, look at this. The assist is the epitome of the most unselfish stat in basketball. And then after the game, what did he do? He wanted to talk about Pascal's birthday more than he wanted to talk about his own record, y'all. Seriously. Oh my gosh. Y'all are so wrong about Fred. I hate you for it because you're idiots. And I just want you in our Raptors nation that hate Fred to get the fuck out. Seriously, can we trade you out of this fan nation? Can we just say, no, you're not a real one because you don't recognize the real one that Fred VanVleet is? That seriously, you're not a real one if you don't recognize the real one that Fred is. I'm sorry. It's just that way at this point. That you guys are just idiots. If you're coming after Fred after the body of work that he's put out there this season, in some ways has been so impressive, even in this losing season. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Fiercey's here. Good to see Fiercey Salsera. Good morning, family. Great win yesterday, and we were ahead of the Hawks for a few hours in the rankings until Dallas messed it up. Congrats to Fred on the franchise record for assists, and I hope OG is okay. Yeah, I hope OG's okay too. Let me just go look and see if there's any news on our team page about OG Anunoby. This would be in our injury report. Let's see. OG Anunoby sustained a mild ankle sprain in Sunday's 128-108 win over the Hornets. Eric Kareen is reporting that he finished with 23 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist over 34 minutes. So they're just saying he suffered a mild ankle sprain and that he is day-to-day. So he is actually got the day-to-day in front of his name right now. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, if it's the Hornets, the Hornets game again on Tuesday, well, maybe he won't play. Maybe he won't play for that one and be ready for Boston the next night, because it is a back-to-back Tuesday and Wednesday night. We play Boston on Wednesday night after playing Charlotte the second game. So it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. We need to finish this one with Charlotte, get this win. So we'll have 40 wins after Tuesday. And then we only need to win one game out of the last three to be a 500 team for the season. We win 2 out of the last 3, then we're a winning team for the season. It's a very interesting situation with 2 games against Boston and a game against Milwaukee. Can we win one of them at least? Can we win 2 out of the 3? Maybe. That is all doable. We'll just have to see how it all goes down with people who are sitting and what the motives are of those top teams when we face them in these last couple games of the season. But we definitely got to get this one against the Hornets tomorrow. And there's no business losing to these Hornets. We need to sweep the Hornets for the season in two-game series. And that's difficult to do in itself. But this is maybe the easiest two-game series of the two, because of who's available for the Hornets. So we need to do this. Mike saying, salute the real ones. Project Truth always. Great win. Hard hats were on. Just straight business. I did look at Nick's agent more. Wow. His definitely work things here. His agent is the guy that got I don't understand this. This is not English, Mike. I don't know what that means. Feebed or whatever the fuck that is. And this is not a sentence. I did look at Nick's agent more. Wow, his definitely work things here. Wow, his definitely work things here. What the fuck is that, Mike? Write it again and clearer. I cannot understand what you're saying about Nick's agent. I'm very interested. I'd like to know what you're going to say, but I can't understand what the fuck that is. Use English and no short-term things, like your vernacular your shorthand. Don't use your shorthand, because you're the only one who knows your shorthand. I don't know your shorthand. All right, sorry, and I don't mean to get all mad, Mike, but it's just holy crap. G saying, I'm so disappointed in fans that YouTuber posted an entire video stat padding. The best part is Scottie posting Fred's record and all the youth posting him, trolling these fools. Exactly. This is a great point by G. And this warmed my heart. I went and looked on Instagram after the game, and you can see Precious, Scottie, Jeff Dowtin Jr., Ron Harper Jr., Christopher, Pascal, every single one of them posted on Instagram celebrating Fred's franchise record, 20 assists. And he has that cool picture with him with the glasses on. It's almost like they told him, here, put these glasses on so we can take a picture of you with 20/20 vision. And he did. He put on the glasses. He looked like an architect. He kind of looked like George Costanza in a way. And, there you go. Freddie has gotten shine by his teammates. And the first person that posted that achievement, it was Scottie. Scottie was the very first one to put that on blast on his Instagram. So I'm telling you, does he hate Fred? Is he going to put that on there? Some people are trying to look at the celebration in the locker room and trying to compare it to when Siakam got 50 in New York, and them just sitting around last night and going, yay, when Fred got his game ball last night from Nick Nurse after the game. First of all, Nick looked so excited to give him the game ball. Once again, Nick, thank you for showing passion and showing engagement and showing that you do still give a shit, because you came in there, you gave him the ball, and he was like, yeah, and everybody kind of just whoa. And now FredHaters are saying, yeah, see, they don't care about him. They hate him. Well, it's the end of the season. These guys are tired. They're beaten down. They're worn out. And when Siakam got 50 in New York, that was kind of a tide turning kind of thing, where people were really excited because they just beat the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. And it was a really big feat in some ways. That was a very big feat. Not that Fred's wasn't either, but in some ways we're at a different place of the season than we were when Siakam had his feat. And that's part of the reason why there's a difference in some ways. But these guys were just as excited for Fred, but maybe just not caught on camera being excited like that. And so be it. Open Gym, you should have caught all the craziness. Yeez. Come on now. Let's see. Fiercely saying, where can I see Nick Nurse snapping at the reporter? Looked up the post-game presser via the Raptors YouTube channel. Could not find it. Well, it's not on that channel because they don't actually ever post those pregame interviews. We only just hear about them on Twitter. And it's usually the reporters like Michael Grange and Josh Lewenberg writing what they hear him say from before the game. And that's how I get that information usually. Now, sometimes I'll be on the NBA TV stream and they will pop up before the game and I'll be able to watch them like I did for the one on Friday because I actually saw it live when he said the really bad stuff last Friday. Well, the one for yesterday, the way I was able to watch it, Fiercey, is go on Twitter and find Lindsey Dunn, find her Twitter account, or Michael Grange. It's on both of theirs because they're the two that are kind of coming after Nick for the questions on this topic, and they're the ones that Nick is pissed at. They're trying to say this. All right, I don't give a shit about any of this. First of all, Lindsey Dunn, Michael Grange, quit your bullshit. All right. This motherfucker, Nick Nurse, does not want to listen to your questions. He's told you that. I don't care if he miscounted how many times y'all asked him. And you're going to say, oh, well, we only asked him that one time. And then Michael Grange is saying, we didn't even ask him a question. And he offered the information and said it just out of the blue. And that is true to a degree. That's exactly right what Michael Grange said. And that's part of why I was so pissed at Nick, is because he offered the information without them really cueing it or asking it or like really wrinkling it out of him. It's like he was like, you put like pressure on me. I'll tell you, yeah, I'm not happy. I need 3 weeks or something to figure out what I'm going to do. And 10 years is a long year, long time. So in some ways, like it's on their Twitter accounts and they have a clip of it with him bitching out Lindsey Dunn. And and then they're in the comments, they're saying, but we didn't ask you 3 times, Nick. We only asked you on Friday. That's the only time. And this is the second time now. Well, I'm just glad Nick got pissed at them because listen, he should have gotten pissed at them right away when they started this kind of bullshit instead of getting there and opening it up. Maybe it was a very calculated miscalculation and now it's done what it needs to do. Now he's doing damage control. Now he understands that he has to ingratiate himself back with people like us. And, he's doing a good job, even if he did this bullshit. I want to like the guy and I want to see the fire that he gives a shit and then he wants to win. If I see that he's checked out and he doesn't give a shit about the Raptors, then I'm pissed at him. But if I see the fire and I see the anger and I see that he gives a shit, then I'm like back with Nick. I'm like, yeah, Nick, you have your fire back. All right. I can get behind you and feel supporting of you and you being really, really the best coach for us right now. Now, is that going to change in the offseason? Maybe. It may very well be that he's gone. But at least for right now, we know he's still committed to making the best of things for the Raptors right now with the rest of this remaining schedule and the play-in looming right now. And that's what I needed to know. So, yeah, look on Twitter, Fiercey, and go to Lindsey Dunn's or Michael Grange's account, and you'll find it. Fred saying Scottie has been amazing, and Scottie posting Fred is the ultimate troll job. They still can't take a hit. I know. It's so dumb. I mean, in so many ways, Fred and Scottie are very alike. They're not the exact same kind of path to where they've gotten to. In some ways, Fred is like such a different thing than Scottie. Scottie's a prep star, All-American, a blue chipper. Freddie had such a harder path in some ways than Scott. Scott's had it laid out for him. In some ways, there may be a little bit of sad or not sadness or jealousy that, it's so much easier for Scottie in some ways, but it's because he's got the talent. He's got the size. He's got everything in certain ways. But in some ways, they can meet and respect each other for each other's good qualities. As far as, if I was Scottie, and I know Scottie has this mentality, he has to be impressed with Fred VanVleet's story. That in some ways, just the idea of Fred VanVleet and what he is to a person who's a real baller who loves ball is just has to love like what Fred has done. And I know that Scott feels that way about him, that he has to, he can't appreciate it himself because he's a 4th pick in the draft and that he's been a guy that's been heralded all along coming up. Well, Fred's not that. And in some ways, if he doesn't know his own path, he can maybe see that the path of Fred's was a lot different and respect it and appreciate it. And meanwhile, on the flip side, why can't Fred look at Scott and say, this young man is so talented and so amazingly good? In some ways, all right, I may be a little jealous because I wish I was 6'9" and I had these broad shoulders and I could do all this kind of stuff like he does. But in some ways, also, Fred has to truly, really respect the artistry and the ball game and the talent of Scottie in the other direction. And he really does. He keeps talking about how this sky's the limit for him. He's going to be great. There's so many great things about him. There's been so much complimentary things said in both directions that, the people that think that Fred and Scottie hate each other, you're idiots. Seriously. Scottie would not put him on blast after the game if he didn't think, he's done it over and over again this whole season. He celebrates Fred all the time. And, Fred gives credit to Scottie all the time also. So, yeah, we're going to kill this myth more and more. When we see them still lining up together next year and everything is great and happy and smiley, and the people that have this issue want to put this forth more and more, that there's a versus between them, their heads will explode more and more as they get more intertwined and better together. The more years they are together. Yeah. Smooth Brown Man's here. Good to see Smooth. It's the narrative of Friday that's affecting a lot of Raptors Nation. I'm watching the games, but emotionally detached and ignoring Nick Nurse. Well, Smooth, can I tell you there's a hope now? Seriously, Nick gives a shit. And I'm so happy about it. I'm serious. He showed me the signs. He showed a passion. He got angry at the press, and that made me happy. In fact, what he said after the game was fantastic also. So in some ways, he's turned it around to me in my book and shown that he does give a shit again. And I'm very happy about this because I want the confidence in knowing that our coach is fully invested in trying to make our team win out on the way out this schedule. And I'm telling you, he showed it. He showed it. And in fact, he was really intelligent about it because he made the emphasis all about the players. He forgot about himself. He's not talking about himself. He's not taking questions about himself anymore. He's only taking questions about how the players played, the game, and things like that are related to that. And he's not talking about the offseason anymore. Thank God. That's the problem. He shouldn't have talked about the offseason so soon. That there's still a lot of work to be done in this season. And that's what partly pissed me off. Is that what? Why are you talking about the offseason now? You got work to do, man. Seriously, don't be talking about the offseason now. And well, now he's focused. And now he's saying that I only want to talk about the team. God damn it. He almost basically said, God damn it, I just want to fucking talk about the team, is basically how he sounded when he said it. It's he was so feisty that I was like, all right, he cares. There's a fire and there's a passion there. Thank you, Nick, for showing me that. So in some ways, listen, Smooth, I know you may feel that way still, but he isn't. Trust me, he's back. He's back. I saw it yesterday. He's back. I'm a fun guy saying, yeah, Pascal missed him on a few more assists, but 20 and 20 is also such a clean sounding stat and even numbers to remember. Hey, remember Fred's 2020 game? Remember Fred's 2020 game? Yeah, I like that. I think it's cool too. Seriously, I'm glad Fred's getting these kind of accomplishments that, in some ways I would have thought Kyle had this accomplishment. He's such a record hunter. He could have gotten 20 assists at some point in his career with the Raptors, but he didn't, y'all. That's how special this is in some ways. That Kyle could have gotten 20 assists, but he didn't. Jose could have gotten 20 assists, but he didn't. Muggsy, any of these guys, these great point guards in Raptors history, none of them got 20 assists except for one guy, and that's Fred VanVleet. Haters hate. Hate all you want, that you cannot change the facts or the truth. That Fred VanVleet is a franchise leader in the Raptors franchise, baby. That's right. G saying 2020 clear vision sounds so much better. 2020 clear vision. Yes. Yes. Fred, that balance between you shooting and you passing was on display yesterday. Such fantastic balance, 20 and 20. And that stats of his hand on certain points throughout the whole game. How many of our 128 points yesterday was Fred involved in to make for us to win? Well, you do the math. 20 times 2 is 40 plus 20 is 60. So just under half. Maybe there's a little bit more. In some ways, he had probably to do with more of the points too. But just a little under half of our total points last night, Fred was directly involved. And that's fantastic. Callie's saying, thank God OG can shoot. I know. And Nick talked about this after the game last night, saying that the three-point shooters on our team, the higher end three-point shooters like OG and Fred and Gary, definitely need to shoot a lot and make a lot. But then the guys who kind of are in the low 30 percentage of shooting, like Chris Boucher and Pascal Siakam, they need to be making their shots also more often too. That, we've struggled at the 3-point line recently, but we actually shot pretty well at the three last night. Let's do some team stat looking at last night. In the half, this is crazy. The Hornets had actually shot more field goals than us at halftime, and were actually out hustling us to manufacture more field goal attempts. And I was shocked by that. Well, by the end of the game, that had completely flipped to 104 field goal attempts for us to 85 for them. So we ended up getting almost 20 more field goal attempts than them by the end of the game in the second half, because in the first half, they had more than us. And that's pretty impressive. We shot 54%. They shot 49. That's great. The three-pointers, we only made 8 three-pointers. Once again, very anemic eight three-pointers, and almost all of them OG. Like you said, 5 of them were OG. And thank God for him, Callie, for sure. Meanwhile, Charlotte was kind of feasting at the three-point line. That was one of the things that was actually helping them try and stay in the game, getting 15 three-pointers, and they shot an amazing percentage. They're not a good three-point shooting team. But last night, between Svi and James Bouknight, these guys were 15 of 31 and shot 48% from three. That was actually really impressive, but probably their best strength in the whole entire game last night. We were a perfect 8 of 8 from the free throw line, 9 of 13 for them on the free throw line. They missed quite a few free throws. We out-rebounded them 45 to 37. We got, like I said, 38 assists last night. That is amazing. That is such a good assist total. 8 steals to 3 for them, 6 blocks to 4 for them. We caused 18 turnovers. We only had 8 ourselves. That is all good Raptors basketball right there. 22 fast break points, 90 points in the paint. There were so many dunks last night. So many dunks. In fact, the Charlotte Hornets announcers were being terrorized by our team in some ways. They were like being terrorized by OG. Like when OG would ever shoot a three, they were just like, it's automatic. He's just automatic. He's just going to make it. They were like, seriously, they were talking about, oh my gosh, not OG again. Oh my gosh. And then they kept going on about how many dunks we were getting. How many lob attempts were there? Successful lobs last night. People lobbing every which way. Scottie to Precious in transition. There's a lob to OG. There's a lob to Pascal from Jakob in the high post. So many fantastic dunks and lobs in this game. Once again, guys getting transition dunks, all kinds of fantastic stuff. Very entertaining game. Even the Hornets fans that were in attendance in the building had to have a good time, even though their team lost, because they got a show. They got to see some very amazing, fantastic hijinks and highlights of dunks and alley-oops and all kinds of good stuff. Even Fred was doing, listen, this is the other thing about Fred that's so badass that people are missing out on. Fred is showing us amazing technique in different ways. Like the one play where he hit that last second shot over a tall defender with the high glass bank. Like that is impressive. It was the very last second of the shot clock. And somehow, some way, he lofted up a little shot over a very tall center defender, and it hit the glass and bounced into the basket and made it right at the last second. Amazing. He's been doing stuff like this, whether it's the crossovers, whether it's the hezzies, whether it's the bank shots, whether it's the incredible like looping high looper that goes up and then comes in. Fred is doing it all right now. And people need to appreciate him and stop hating. Seriously, stop hating. Oh my gosh. Space Cadet saying, I couldn't even listen to Chev last night. How do you make a video trying to downplay a phenomenal achievement? Dude has fallen off a cliff. Chev's doing that too right now. Holy crap. What is wrong with our Raptors nation? What are you doing, Chev? Don't be Pensair. I thought you guys were beefing. Why are you going and making commentary like he would make? That is really, really crazy. I can't believe that. Chev, I'm really disappointed in you, man. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? MSJ saying 20 strong. Very nice. Even if a few were stat padded, who cares? He needs to play assists, selfish, And those who are down on any of this are a menace to the fan base. Ignore the dark triad at work. Laugh out loud. I love it. The dark triad. MSJ, you go. You go. Yeah, listen. I mean, seriously, these guys in the NBA are all selfish about their stats to a degree. They do care about what they get and what they play and do. And, in some ways, it's not that what Fred is doing is selfish. There's nothing he did on the court last night that wasn't team oriented. It wasn't anything he did on the court last night that was only for himself. There's nothing that he did on the court last night that was a distraction or bad for the team. He did everything right in a lot of ways. He missed shots. Yeah, but they're going to miss shots. That's normal. But otherwise, he did so many good things as far as controlling the game, managing the game, finding guys, getting guys going. I mean, if you look at the Raptors box score, you will see very good balance overall with different people getting stuff done in the starting lineup. The bench, we could have had way more production off the bench, but who cares? They were very heavy with the starters once again in some ways. But we did see good work from Precious and Chris off the bench. They did get some good rebound totals. Didn't score as much and didn't play as much as I would have liked. Koloko also getting in and getting 3 offensive rebounds, scoring 6 points. I liked some of the stuff on Koloko. You see that him and Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. have a chemistry from the 905 and building it up there, because Jeff found Koloko at one point on the baseline for a nice little 10-footer away from the basket, and Koloko hit it money like it was nothing. And that's the kind of stuff I really want to see from Koloko more and more next year. That in his second year, we need to start going to him in offensive ways and exploring more just how much he could score for us and help get some baskets for us. It could be very similar kind of offense to what Jakob's doing for us right now. We're all within 15 feet of the basket and a lot of like one-handed like shoot shots like this and stuff like that. But the thing is, Koloko's also shown that he can shoot threes and that he may be able to be relied on to hit threes also in a way like Chris or somebody like that in some ways. He's better at the top of the key with the threes, though. It's almost like he has to shoot from up there. He's not as good in the corners with the threes as he is at the top of the key. But I love seeing Koloko do a little bit of offense last night. He was very interesting. Of course, they do the whole pick and roll lob threat with him and Fred's always nice. But to see him get set up and make a little short jump shot is really fantastic also. And that was one of my favorite moments of the game, was seeing Koloko hit that little shot. It was very, very good. I'm sick of this fan nation that is like, it's not even a fan nation. This dark triad nation of people that just want to come down on us. It's like, we've had a bad year. We get it. Why is our own nation against us? And why is our own nation part of the problem this year? It's like, seriously, stop being like this. Chev, Pensair, regular fans that are out there just all on Fred's case. Just enjoy the moment. This is a great Raptor moment that happened yesterday. And y'all are acting like it's like a horrible event. And I'm just like, I can't believe you people. You're just not with us. You're not Raptor freaks. You're not actually Raptor fans. You're just some fucking people that have a lot of time on your hands to be pessimistic assholes and to be little dicks. Seriously, go find other hobbies. You don't like Fred so much. Well, he's one of the stars of the show. If you watch a TV show and you don't like one of the main characters, do you fucking watch that show anymore? No. So maybe you need to change the channel. Or some of y'all Fred haters. Go be a fan of the Knicks or something. They're in the playoffs. Go be a Knicks fan. Chev, go back to the Knicks then, if you're going to be all on top of Fred about this. Seriously. Go be fans of other teams and go add your dumbass noise to their nations instead of ours, because we're just sick of it. This has been a long season, and all you negative ninnies and idiots putting out all this bullshit, fuck you. I hate you for what you've done this season and all the dumb shit you've been saying left and right all year. Oh, my gosh. Shane Waters is saying the behind the back to Jakob. Yeah, amazing play by both Fred and Jakob. And to all the Fred haters, fuck you and have a nice day. Thank you, Shane. I'm with you on that. I seen Shane putting comments in different places last night. And I'm like, Shane Waters is a real one. That is a real one. That's a real Raptor freak right there, fighting the good fight in other places and standing up for Fred's good name. You go, Shane. You go. Yeah, Fred was talking about that assist after the game in the post-game interviews, saying that assist was fun. That was nice. I like my behind the back one. I'm glad he made it. That's, first of all, he gave credit to Jakob for catching it and making it, because he knows he's nothing without him catching it and making it. And he just like kind of like that was the fun one because it's like, I was hoping I would get that one. And when I did, it was real nice. And I liked it. Yeah, Fred liked that one in particular. That little behind the back, like in traffic, right underneath the basket one. Woo, that was good. That was good. Let's see. Fiercely saying, despite Charlotte being shorthanded, they're still a legit NBA team. Hence, they have as much chances to win against any other team. So let's not disregard Fred's accomplishment. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, listen, people can be nitpicky like this and say this and this and this and this. Fred against Orlando when he got the scoring record, that wasn't the best team either. Who cares? This is the NBA. These are NBA teams. And we saw NBA caliber players playing yesterday. That Kai Jones, yeah, look at his prospect. Made the Saborans go out and get him on the fantasy team right away after they saw Kai Jones out there getting up in the air real high and blocking shots and dunking. And there was that one moment where he blocked Precious really bad and then ran down the other end of the court and got a dunk on us the other end. That Williams kid, their center last night. Woo! He looked pretty good too. Like he looks like a real good up and coming young player. Williams with a double-double, 15 points, 12 rebounds, 7 offensive rebounds. Really annoying guy. There's a couple players on the other side that were quite impressive last night, including our old friend Svi Mihalik. JT Thor didn't do as much as I thought he would have, but really Williams and Jones, those two guys were phenomenal. And then, James Bouknight is a talent, if not a knucklehead also, getting 7-11, shooting 5 of 7 at 3 for 21 points. So, yeah, Svi was their leading scorer. It's just like I said, we had no business losing to this team again at all, losing to this team at all. Tuesday, we need to beat them again. We just do. We just need to beat them again. G saying, Kobe scored 81 on a 27-win bad Raptors team. Did Lakers fans downplay that? It's not the same, but still a record. Fred has 2 franchise records now, and that is all that will show in history. That's exactly right. Whatever. People are going to poo-poo everything. Think about how they treat our championship and how they poo-poo like the settings and this and then this. People are fucked in this kind of way. That's what I'm saying. Just like let us enjoy our successes. Let us have our time. I understand other fan bases poo-pooing our shit, but why is our own people in our own nation poo-pooing our own shit? Like, seriously, why are y'all doing this? Seriously. We just need to cut them all out. If you have them on your stream, if you have them on your Twitter feed, if you have them on your Facebook feed, you have them in these places, just block them. Just disfollow them. Just stop. Because nobody needs this unnecessary noise anymore. Nobody needs this unnecessary negativity from these people anymore. Like, seriously, that's all y'all are. The people that are like this. Y'all are unnecessary. You're unnecessary noise that doesn't matter or doesn't even have a grasp of reality in this situation in certain ways. So it's like you're unnecessary. Everybody who's talking down Fred today, you're unnecessary. And you need to fuck off, just like Shane said. All right, let's see. Mike saying the agent caught. Okay, here we go. He's going to tell me what he meant now because I had no idea what English you were writing in there. All right, the agent caught in an FBI probe of NCAA coaches taking money from agents to steer prospects. Paul Rich hired Adam Miller from that fame. Adam Miller is actually running Klutch now. Paul stepped back. Rich Paul is too busy dating Adele to run his own company anymore. Is he like LeBron? He's like, I'll just be an owner and step back and just live the rich life and like date a popular pop singer. And that's what he's doing now. So he's got this other guy running it and he has like all kinds of problems with the FBI. Wow. That's no good. I don't like this, Mike. That's not good. Adam Miller, huh? Well, whatever Klutch tried to do with Nick Nurse on Friday, they didn't understand how Raptors things work. And that wasn't a good thing. He stepped in doo-doo. And he didn't need to step in that doo-doo. It was totally unnecessary for him to step in the doo-doo. And I hope that Adam Miller and Klutch realize that now. That in some ways, maybe your playbook for how you may operate in other places won't work in Masai land. I'm sorry. That it just won't work up here. You want him to get a good contract and stay in Toronto? Well, that wasn't the way to go about it. That really, really wasn't. We like straightforward. We like honest. We like right on the board and stuff. We don't like little tactics. We don't like little weird things like what Nick did before the game against Philadelphia on Friday. And well, maybe Nick got mad at the agency and said something like this. Listen, This isn't who I am. This isn't who I am. Guys are making me act out in a way that I'm not normally like this. And I don't like this at all. And don't try and pressure me to do things that I don't want to do ever again, is what I'm going to say to them. I hope that's what Nick said to them. It's like, look, you guys put me in a bad pitch position. I'm getting all kinds of grief from different places all of a sudden this weekend. And I don't appreciate your advice and telling me to do this in this way because it did not help. It did not help my team, which I care about and I want to win. It did not make me look good. It made me look really bad. And in some ways, it did very damaging things to my career. And, if this is the kind of advice Klutch is going to be giving him, maybe he's going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to y'all totally like this. But yeah, I don't like hearing all this. I mean, why you want crooked people working for you, LeBron? You need to suss your people out and not let people that are in trouble with the FBI come and deal with you. Cool Cat's saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Man, Dallas could not even do us a simple favor. I know. Kyrie is just a gift that keeps on giving this season. Whether it's him killing us at the last second, taking wins away from us, sweeping us with the Brooklyn Nets, or it's fucking him going to Dallas and being such a loser he can't fucking win a game in overtime against the Atlanta Hawks. What a fucking loser. Like, seriously, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Y'all have two of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA. Are they that not working together? I mean, I knew they wouldn't work together because in some ways they play the same position. They need the same needs on the team. So they're duplicitous to each other. And in some ways, they're not a variant of each other enough in a way that you have more strength in another area. So you really double down in one area there, ball hog, passer, kind of like number one guys. And where's the other people? Okay, Christian Wood. He's the other second banana, and then you got to go off with now. I mean, it really is poor roster construction and really dumping a density of huge, crazy talent, generational talent in one spot, the point guard, and nothing else anywhere else. And in some ways, Luka and Kyrie can't play together. They really just can't. I think that Kyrie hurts Luka's game. And in some ways, I think Luka would help Kyrie, but Kyrie's just a problem in general. It's like he's got a pattern of going places and not being successful at this point. He can say all this, and he can be all this as an individual talent, but the proof is in the pudding of the record. And the dude does not win, is what I'm saying. This dude does not win unless he has other guys around him that help him win. And in this case, he doesn't have that at this point. So what the fuck, Mavericks? Y'all suck. You suck so bad. Space Cadet saying need Chicago Bulls to beat Atlanta on Tuesday. Okay, that's the next game for them. The Bulls. Well, the Bulls are in that dogfight too. They have a lot to play for right now. And yeah, okay, I'd like to see that, even though the Bulls are kind of on our heels. It's coming up behind us. Yeah. MSJ saying, nameless, the Dark Triad told me personally that the Poeltl trade was a mistake and that second round pick we lost was the key to the next chip in the Scotty Barnes rebuilding fanboy fantasy the Triad has. All right, who are the three in the Triad? I want to know who it is. But that's hilarious. So you're going to the dark side, MSJ, and seeing what the Dark Triad is saying, and they're saying that the Poeltl trade was a mistake. Idiots. Man, they really don't understand basketball. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, whatever. They're idiots. You keep telling me what they're saying over there. They're dumbass bullshit. Kubron's here. Good to see Kubron again. Always good to see one of the newest Raptor freaks, one of the best new Raptor freaks, Kubron Puranandin. I want to get your name right. Raps in the play-in berth, bro. We got it. Official. Yeah. Celebrate. In some ways, it's like, woo, yay, playing. In some ways, it's like that, but it is an accomplishment. At least we're guaranteed we're going to get a postseason game, at least one. We're going to have a little bit of a postseason at least. If not, we can make more, try and make more. But yeah, technically have clinched the play-in. And that means that we're not going to get past the play-in. We're not going to get a playoff spot, and we're definitely not going to fall out of the play-in either. We're clinched in the play-in. That means there's no spot number 6 coming for us. The best we can do at this point is 7 or 8, probably more likely 8. And hopefully we can get that 8 because the 8 is important. We don't want to be in 9. We're in 9 right now. We'd much rather be in 8. And we'll have to see if we can make that change before the end of the season. That is really, really the main important goal right now is to get above Atlanta. Yes. All right, let me keep going with All right, I jumped around and I need to figure out where I left off so that I cannot miss any. All right, we're at Monique Superfan Lawrence is here. Good morning, everyone. Hello, play in. 3 stars of the game, Fred, Pascal, and Jakob. Open gym crew, we're on top of the game for sure. Love you, Fred. Yeah, they got a lot of good open gym footage, I'm sure, last night. We'll get to see the episode, I'm sure, very soon, commemorating the 20 and 20 game by Fred. They'll be fantastic. Your 3 stars are Fred, Pascal, and Jakob. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. I put OG in there instead of Jakob. In some ways, partly because of the 3-point shooting. That OG was just so key with that 3-point shooting was fantastic. But you can't go wrong with any of that, Monique. I like your 3 stars also. Jakob very close. And I had to debate it. I was like, man, I could put Jakob in there, but he didn't get a double-double like he normally does. I did really like the 5 blocks he had, but they took a block back. Now he only has 4. It's crazy. Fun guy saying, yeah, Kyrie really pissed me off watching that. Dallas really fucked up. Kyrie won't work and isn't coming back, and they gave a lot for him. Trey was already in a tight spot, and Kyrie bailed him out. Yeah, just dumb. Like, how long have you been in this league, Kyrie? How long have you been in this league? Did you do this on purpose? Did you know the implications for the Raptors? And you're like, I'm going to screw Toronto over again. Kyrie. What a weird player, man. What a weird player. All right, new 1,000 is here. All right, let's see what's going on here. I'd like to see the new names. 9:30 every morning. We're here live. I'll be here tomorrow for a preview for our second game against the Charlotte Hornets tomorrow morning. So please come back. Again, new 1,000 saying, I find it hilarious when 2 American YouTubers, you know who I'm referring to, are making videos and arguing over who loves the Raptors and Raptor fans more. Fucking hilarious. Is that what they're like? I don't even know what they're arguing. I don't watch their stuff anymore. Like, I really don't want to rip them off, first of all. And also, I don't have as much time as I used to. When I really want to do the research and focus on the things that are like real sources, like the games and the interviews with the players and the coaches and reputable news sources. So I'm not really like delving deep on content makers as I used to, because in some ways I'm a content maker myself and I don't want to rip anybody off. So I'm going to guess you're talking about Chev, and maybe you're talking about Chris out in LA, Chris's Sports Corner. I'm not sure. If you're talking about Robert, he's here in Canada. He's actually Canadian, I believe. So I'm not totally sure who you mean. Maybe you could elaborate. I know you probably mean Chev as one of them. But yeah, that's funny. Now, listen, I don't know what they're trying to say, who they love. I don't think these guys make content telling them how much they love the Raptors, especially when they do Fred hit pieces all the time. So if they have a weird way of showing that they love the Raptors, if that's the way they're doing it. Trevor's saying, good morning. Shout out to Pascal taking us to victory on his birthday. It was a good one last night. Let's go get the other game. Let's go, Raptors, go. Yes, I love seeing Pascal's pictures on his birthday, him chilling after the game in a white sweater with the ace of hearts on his heart. And just Pascal looking real classy, looking real slick. You know, he did sign a bunch of autographs before the game for Charlotte fans outside the game. And just being a cool dude. Pascal, you're a badass. We love you. And it was really awesome that you got such a good birthday present yesterday. It's so fun. And like, you know, I love that Fred really wanted to celebrate your birthday more than his achievement after the game. That he smiled and perked up talking about you and your birthday more than his actual 20 and 20 game. And that's something that Fred haters need to note and go look at. Go watch the post-game interview with Savannah Hamilton and see what he is talking about when Fred's talking there. And you tell me that is not a team leader. You tell me that that's a selfish person. You tell me that. And I'll be like, you're fucking, what are you looking at? Did you hear what he said? Come on. Leslie's here. Good to see Leslie Hart, a great Raptor freak. Been with us for a long, long time. One of the originals, Leslie. We love Leslie. Good morning, Raptor freaks. Atlanta ended pulling one out yesterday, but I'm glad that we won. We have to get the next one for sure. For sure. Let's get a perfect 4-0 versus the Charlotte Hornets for the season. That's a great accomplishment. We need all these wins. We need to get to 41. We're at 39. We have 4 more games. You do the math. If we can get 2 of the last 4 games, then boom, we are a 500 team for the season. We get 3 out of the last 4. Bam, we're above 500 team for the season. So that is the task ahead of you, Raptors. right in front of you. Now, the Charlotte game, well, we can see it may be a easier game to get than the last three, but we don't know because Milwaukee and Boston may do screwy things with load management to finish the season. So we're going to have to find out and see what teams we're going to be seeing in these last few games. We'll have to see. Monique is saying NBA Instagram posted Fred's big night. Yeah, they were all putting it on blast. I do. All right, listen, one thing I will say about this season that I am very happy about. In some ways, the history of the franchise has been disrespected by the NBA in all kinds of different ways. But we're getting more shine. We're getting more respect. We're getting more like attention in the proper ways from the proper NBA and not just NBA Canada and not just from different people down there. We're getting more legitimate respect in general from people. Even though we had a 500 season, people understand we're a good team. We're a good organization. And there's a lot of good things about Toronto. And in some ways, they're not slighting us anymore like they used to. That we really are getting our fair share in some ways. Finally, whether it's them putting on blast Fred's accomplishment last night or just different things like highlights and different things that we've done this season, we're more likely to get shine down south now than maybe at most points in the Raptors history. So I do appreciate that the NBA market in the States is opening up a little bit more to being more positive and covering us and on what we're doing up here more, because they did not do that for a long time. And now we are getting more shine down below. And I appreciate that. And it is shown in game commentators from other teams showing respect and talking us up and saying nice things about our team and their broadcast. It's shown in NBA Instagram accounts putting us on blast and celebrating things that we're doing up here also. So I do appreciate that change. And that is part of the maturing and growth of our team over 30 years, that we're getting more and more respect in the main NBA news stuff. And that's very good. I like that. Callie's saying, wow, Svi was amazing. Too bad he didn't get more playing time with us. He probably would have gained more confidence. In some ways, it was kind of poetic that Svi Mihalik was the guy across from us yesterday killing us. That, that was Nick's personal pet project from last season that failed. He was the one who told Masai and Bobby to get Svi Mihalik and put him on the team because he really wanted him on the team and that he was going to be one of his favorites. He really tried early on in the season last year to get Svi out there in like productive ways in our rotation. And it worked for a little bit in a couple of different ways, but overall it stopped working. He just couldn't hit anything and his confidence was shot at a certain point. Well, in some ways, Nick had a personal investment in him because he really did believe in him and it failed. So, in your comment, Callie, when you're saying that you wish that he got more playing time, well, he got all the opportunities in the world with us last season. In fact, we were hurt a lot and he had to step in and play major minutes for us, but he failed. He really did. He wasn't playing as well at that time. And who knows, it could have been all kinds of different contributing factors. His confidence was down, the war in Ukraine. There's all kinds of different things that could have been affecting him. Well, it just didn't work out. So in some ways, to me, it was kind of poetic that after Nick's press conference on Friday, that he's facing a player that he was so high on last year that didn't pan out. And well, he was panning out last night. In some ways, it's very easy for a player, if they're going to get the ball a whole lot, to have something like that happen. I mean, if there's other good players around him, well, he's not going to get those shots. He's not going to get his career high in points yesterday. That's something nobody's talking about. Svi actually scored his career high ever in an NBA game yesterday against us, 26 points. That is the most points he's ever scored in an NBA game his whole entire career. So in some ways, he had his career night yesterday in a losing effort against us. Well, if Kelly Oubre Jr. is there, if Terry Rozier is there, if any of these guys who are sitting in street clothes on the Hornets bench is there, Svi's not getting those opportunities. So it really is kind of a perfect storm of, opportunity falling into his lap and him taking advantage of it. Then like him being able to get this done or have this done at any time. It is what it is, Callie. It worked out the way it did, and we can't go back and change it. But once again, I thought it was really poetic that Svi got his career high against us and how Nick Nurse, he was his dude last season. Seriously, he was his dude. He was the guy he really wanted to succeed for us, and it just didn't happen. Lion Hunter saying, hey, Lex, did you see what Aaron Rose just posted? Yak defending Fred's shot selection. Interesting that the players are definitely reading Twitter. Yeah, I did see that. I actually saw Yak do it in the post game last night. This is the thing. These guys probably do see some of the things we're saying and hear some of the things we're saying. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe some of them are listening to me. But that's the thing. I love that that Jakob did this for Fred, because honestly, these guys know the game way better than any of us. They're in the middle of it. They're in the part of the schemes and the plans and understanding things. And Scottie and Jakob and Fred's knowledge of basketball is like 1,000 times better than mine or any of these idiots that say stuff. Pensair, Chev, anybody. These guys know things because they do it and they're involved in it and they understand just how hard it is and they understand everything about it way more than we do. And when Jakob or Scottie explains basketball things in a press conference, you can hear the high IQ, basketball IQ in these young men, that they really know X's and O's. They really know basketball theory. They really know how plays can develop and how they can go different ways and stuff. Well, I love, like I said earlier, Jakob's lessons in the press conferences recently is he's teaching us basketball. And part of what he was teaching us last night about Fred in particular is about his shot selection and why we need him to shoot and why he has to take shots. And he explained it very clearly. And that's one of the things I love about Jakob. He's a very, very good communicator. And he's very, very good at like getting across these points. And I thank God he did this. Seriously, this is awesome. I love Jakob standing up for Fred and saying this kind of stuff. Now, I don't know what Aaron Rose just posted. Maybe I'll go look at it real quick. Let me go see what Aaron Rose is doing. Aaron Rose is a little flaky right now. He's kind of been pissing me off. I'm not going to lie. He's been doing really weird shit lately. He's posted the thing. He's got Jakob talking about it. All right, this is what Jakob is saying. Sometimes you just need to take certain shots because if you try not and it's not there, it's going way too fast. Aaron Rose, this is too fast a clip, man. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Aaron Rose is a little bit in two ways. He's a journalist. He's not a Raptors fan. He's a journalist first. And in some ways, he has no allegiance to the Raptors. He'll shit all over them. He'll make fun of them. He doesn't have a heart for them like Samson Folk or Oren Weisfeld do. Those guys were fans first, and then they became journalists. Well, you can tell. Aaron Rose, I don't even think he's from around here. I mean, I know he went to McGill, but in some ways, I don't really see him as being a Raptors fan. I see him as a guy who's just working for Sports Illustrated who covers the Raptors. And in some ways, I don't like him because of that. Like Aaron Rose, in some ways, if you acted more like a fan of the team and I made me think that you liked the team or you cared about them winning or losing, then I would like you more and maybe follow you more and take more advice from what you're saying. But for now, I'll just take other Homer Raptors covers like Oren Weisfeld, who's very much my favorite right now. Samson Folk is fantastic too. But those guys have a real passion to want to see the Raptors succeed that maybe Doug Smith and Aaron Rose don't actually have themselves. And that's the difference between some of the media people. Is some of them don't give a shit about the Raptors winning. Some of them really are delighted when they're not doing well because they have more to write about. And then some people, they would rather be writing about them being successful and writing good pieces about them and interesting stuff like that, like Oren and Samson. So I like that Jakob's standing up for Fred. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, Lion Hunter. Wayne's here. Good to see Wayne Strainer, a great Raptor freak here on a Monday morning, talking Raptors with us about the Charlotte Hornets game that we won yesterday. He's saying we need to hire a proven shooting coach next. Just making 3 to 4 more mid-range or three-point shots and consistent top-tier placement becomes imperative. Yeah. I mean, I'm at a loss. If we're not going to change coaches this summer, well, we need to improve with somewhere with our shooting and not just get like a big, huge contraption that's on the wall called Noah. We need to improve somehow, some way. These guys got to work harder this summer on their shots, Scottie and Pascal. These guys got to, maybe we go and acquire better shooters, Bobby Webster this summer. There's got to be some sort of certain ways. Like a proven shooting coach. Can we get, whatchamacallit? Was it lethal shooter? Can we get that guy on our staff? We got Rico Hines. Why can't we go get lethal shooter too? He came to Toronto and was working with our guys for a little bit this season. So lethal shooter, maybe we can get him to come and join our coaching staff and just help us in that area. Nick may have too much pride and say, well, I'm the shooting coach, but we're not getting good results, Nick. So maybe we need lethal shooter. Fiercey's saying Nick Nurse needs to trust his bench, especially when starters have injuries during games. Watch glimpses of Spurs versus Kings yesterday. Champagny, the other twin, that's Julian, balling like crazy. Pop gave him an opportunity. That's awesome. That's what I'm saying. Like, look, that game against Charlotte yesterday was not very high stakes. You could get away with playing more of the bench guys and giving them more development time out there instead of just beating them over the head with our main rosters, Raptors. Our starters, they still play too much. Siakam, 38 minutes. Barnes, 36. VanVleet, 38. Minutes Police is saying, look, they shouldn't have played that much against a slouch opponent like that. You should have gotten 20 minutes for Koloko, 20 minutes for Precious, 20 minutes for Ron Harper maybe, or Jeff Dowtin. That's what I'm saying. That there was opportunities missed in the game yesterday to play more of your bench in safer spots and not get burned for it. But you really did still go very heavy with the starters yesterday, Nick. And maybe that's a critique I can give him. And that's where he's missing opportunities to develop the young players and make them better, where Masai would criticize him. So, yeah, And you're seeing Popovich developing the youngsters and giving them chances and wondering why we're not doing that. Well, we get to play them again tomorrow. Hopefully we can beat them even worse and get huge amounts of garbage time for the end of the bench guys and get them even more. Now, one of the situations that's very interesting is Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. As they said in the broadcast last night, Jeff has one more game eligible, and then he cannot play anymore for the season unless he's converted. Well, we're going to play him against Charlotte tomorrow night. I'm going to expect this. If we play Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. tomorrow night, I'm going to bet we're going to cut somebody on Wednesday morning, and he's going to be still available for us for Boston on Wednesday night. That I'm going to make a prediction right now on Monday morning that if we play Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. tomorrow night against the Charlotte Hornets in the last eligible game, his 50th game for the Raptors, that we will cut somebody the next day, and he will be converted the very next day, and he will be available for the Celtics game on Wednesday. Yeah, I'm going to make that prediction right now. I don't know who they'll cut. I will guess it's either going to be Joe Weezy, or it could be Will Barton, or on the long shot, it could be Thad Young. So I'm going to say it's one of those three guys is going to get cut, and Jeffrey's going to get a full roster spot by Wednesday morning. All right, let's see. Mike saying, Yak explained what I was trying to say better based on the team needing someone to shoot certain shots. It's based on actions and the result of an open three. If the defense is tight, they run that shut off. Yeah, it's such a good learning lesson and like teacher, Jakob Poeltl. Very clear and concise and just matter of fact. And I'm telling you, if you want to learn about basketball, watch his press conferences, even Scottie to a degree. Like he gets really in the weeds sometimes in the press conferences talking about schemes and what they're doing. And then you realize that, like, look, we watch the game, we see stuff happen on the court, but you guys have no idea exactly the detail and how really in it they get with all the things that they're thinking about and what they're doing out there. That it's way more complicated than you think. And yeah, that makes it even more impressive. Yeah, Jakob is a great teacher. And like, yeah, I remember you trying to teach what he was saying too, Mike. Yeah. Leslie's saying there are only two members missing from the bench mob, DeLon and Norman. Still remember that episode of How Hungry Are You? All right, well, I got the shirt on today because I wanted to commemorate the guys. There's old Freddie and Pascal. There's Norman. Norman got dunked on really bad this weekend, and they were making fun of him. He really got dunked on bad, like badly, bad. Norman. There's good old Yak, of course. There's CJ. There's Lucas and DeLon there. Yeah, so there's the three there. How hungry are you with all them was hilarious. We learned in that episode that DeLon Wright is a risk taker because he don't care. He'll eat brains all day. He has no problem eating brains, and all of his teammates were freaking out. Oh, DeLon's that guy. Okay, yeah, he will eat whatever. All right, he's freaking us out. He's like, and everybody's like, DeLon, no. That's such a fun episode. Thanks for reminding me of it. Cool Cat saying, when you have team members that are playing for contract now that they're out of contention, they are more aggressive and reckless in their play. Several risky injuries occurred in that game. There was, he was playing dirty. That one. All right. Well, let's talk about the refs. Let's do the ref manipulation report real quick. Tony Brothers, Diedrich Taylor, Ray Acosta. Not bad. Seriously. They ref the game that we thought they would. But the funniest part was the play with Fred in the elbow. Yeah. Fred in the elbow from Williams on the screen. And he did stick it out. But the funniest part of it was Matt Devlin got so angry about it. He's like, you know, he did that. I can't tell, even though I'm way up here with Alvin in the dark. I can tell that elbow was on purpose all the way from up here. And he's going on and on about it. And Tony Brothers was like, all right, we better go look and see if this was flagrant. And he's going to look, and Matt Devlin's building it all up like, oh, it's got to be a foul. In fact, this may be Alvin. A double flagrant foul, like the worst kind, flagrant degree 2 or something like that. He's building it up for all of us in the audience and like making it really sound like, ooh, they're gonna really nail Williams for this egregious elbow to Fred's head. And then all of a sudden, Tony gets on the mic. He says, "Common foul." And then Matt Devlin freaked out. He's like, "What do you mean, common foul? Oh my gosh!" And then he went off for like 5 minutes about it. That was so hilarious. I love that passion by Matt Devlin. I feel like he was right. But in some ways, all right, I can see why Tony Brothers did that, just in his defense. In some ways, Fred was like lower than normal. It's very weird. And I don't really think that he totally kind of tried to hit him. And also, as Matt said, we didn't really see all the angles. So it may be that he didn't actually totally hit him, and Fred did a bit of an acting job. So, and he might have saw that. So either way, I don't know. I'm not that upset about the call. I like the comedy more. Like in that moment, the comedy of Tony Brothers saying common foul at that moment, that was hilarious, especially with such a build from Matt Devlin. Even though it went against us and it wasn't like maybe the right call in some ways, I just thought it was so funny that Tony Brothers just comes out and says common foul. And Matt Devlin was so mad. See, I get entertained by weird stuff in the game sometimes. And that was one of them. There was the other play where he kicked his leg out, trying to trip Fred. So there was some dangerous shit going on in that game by young Hornets. Yeah, there definitely was. A little bit of recklessness. And Cool Cat's right. But yeah, that was hilarious. That play. Now, did you guys see? All right, if you were really closely paying attention in this game, the refs were fucking over the Hornets left and right. Did you notice that? That we were getting all kinds of sweet ass calls? Like, that's what I'm saying, y'all. Sometimes there's a hierarchy to which team gets screwed by the ref hit job. And what happened last night is there was a little bit of a ref hit job on Charlotte for a little bit for a time in there where we were getting extra possessions from like crazy like calls. Some of them were warranted. They weren't totally clean with how they were playing, whether they're travels or, you know, offensive fouls, you know, different things that were going on. But we were getting a lot of good calls. We were getting very much favored with the whistle at certain points in the game last night. So you couldn't be mad at Tony Brothers and his crew last night. In fact, Dedrick Taylor, once again, is a great good luck referee for us. We love you, Dedrick Taylor. You are awesome. And I don't know if you like us or what it is, but we win when you're refereeing. And I love that. Over 70% of the games you referee, we win. So let's keep that trend going, Dedrick. But so, yeah, A+ for those referees last night, giving us some comedy and a little bit of a ref hit job for us during the middle of the game. So that was fantastic. Monique saying Nick Nurse snapped. Indeed. I love it. Way to go. Great post-game interviews all around, though. See, this is the thing. We know, you know, things are better when Monique and I are like, yeah, you go, Nick. We were so proud of him for snapping at Lindsey Dunn. And so proud of him for getting mad at Michael Grange. That's exactly what you needed to do, Nick. Show that you care and make the emphasis the team and caring about getting the team to win. You got back on your priorities. You had a moment of lapse of judgment where you let your own selfish needs and things, and maybe Klutch told you to do it, and you fucked up. But now you're like, fuck, I don't look good after this. In some ways, this is not who I am. Why did I let them tell me to do this? And now he's just like, I'm fucking pissed. I don't want to talk about me anymore. I just want to fucking win. It's about my team. It's not about me. You go, Nick Nurse. Thank you for making a step back and turning around and showing that you are maybe still with us. Because seriously, I don't want to say goodbye to you necessarily. I really do like you as our coach. And what you did on Friday scared the shit out of me and made me mad. And now that you're showing that you do kind of give a shit about the Raptors still, I'm happy. I'm much more happy about it. I am for sure. All right, Logical saying, I'm looking into it more. I swear, looking over that trade deadline press conference, I don't know if he actually called the team selfish. Going to go over it more today, but I think another myth has been going on. Well, what Masai said is that the play has been too selfish on the team this year. I don't see, people are getting like, once again, with the playing for what comment, they're misreading or misinterpreting what Masai is trying to say because it's ambiguous in some ways. His comment was, we've been too selfish this year. Now, people are trying to read it two different ways. Some people are saying it's the contract thing, that people are being selfish because of their contract situation. But I, as a basketball mind and not really worried about money as much as other people are, I take it as there's too selfish on the court with sharing the ball and being connected on the court. And I think that that's what Masai meant when he said that. But a lot of people want to pull threads and cause problems are going with the other narrative, that it's about being selfish about contracts. And I don't think that's what it is. I think that when Masai said that, he intended meaning that they play too selfish on the court and they're not garnering more assists and sharing the ball with each other. But because the comment is not totally fleshed out as definitively what he meant, everybody's kind of reading it and interpreting it in their own way. But to me, that's what he meant when he said it. So yeah, go find that Masai Ujiri from the trade deadline. It's a very interesting interview, and it'll tell us a lot about him and Nick Nurse right now. I do believe he said he's very happy with the job Nick has done in that interview, but also he said he wasn't happy with the development that has been done on our team. So there's a couple of points where he's positive about Nick, and then there's a couple where it seems like he may be criticizing him also. G saying Scottie, Precious, Flynn, Delano, Koloko, Boucher, Pascal, etc., posting Fred on their Instagram. Yak defending Fred clearly shows they are a family. Fans need to stop trying to tear them apart. I honestly, I gotta wonder how many of these people are actually Raptors fans, and they're just people infiltrating or acting like they're people that are in Raptors Nation. Seriously, some of these people are not actually Raptor fans; they're Celtic fans. They're just coming in and adding noise and causing confusion. We can see this morning on Twitter, the Rockets are interested in getting Jaylen Brown. So I'm sure there's all kinds of messed up shit going towards them in their own ways too. We probably have agents in our nation that are imposing as they are Celtics fans and doing stuff in their Celtic spaces, just like a Celtics fan might do to us. In fact, I hope there are some Raptors people out there that really love our Raptors team that are going in and doing subterfuge in other fan nations to cause confusion and problems like these kind of people seem to be doing. I swear that Robert Misovic is getting a paycheck from somebody who likes another team, and that in some ways he's supported by people that want him to cause confusion and bullshit in Raptors Nation. And that is his whole goal. That is the only thing that he exists for, is to cause problems in our fan nation with belief and perception and coming after Fred. And that he's not actually with us, that he's actually being supported by people from other teams to do what he does. Seriously, I wouldn't put it past these people. These people may have too much time on their hands and they're too idiots and they care so much about winning. Have you seen that movie Celtic Pride with Dan Aykroyd and Daniel Stern and how crazy those motherfucking Celtics fans are about getting the Celtics to win? Yeah, you don't think there's real life people like this that are out there bankrolling fake ass YouTube accounts like Penceres and fucking putting out propaganda bullshit to fuck up things in our fan nation? Yeah, they would do that. Seriously, any edge that the Celtics could gain, they would do it. They do shit like turn off the heat in the visitors' locker room in the middle of winter. That's the kind of shit that fan nation does. So I wouldn't put it past them that Robert Penceres is actually working for a Boston Celtics fan and taking a cut or taking a check from him. He's getting paid to get his fancy stuff out there because they want him to do this. And he may be like tired of it. He may be fighting us and he'd be like, I'm saying that maybe that's why he's so miserable, because he knows he has to do it because he's getting paid to do it, but he hates doing it because he's getting so much hate from everybody. He says, is this worth it? Is this worth the money that they're paying me to fucking cause trouble in the Raptors Nation? Maybe he weighs that all the time. Maybe that weighs on his conscience. Maybe being, not being authentic, being inauthentic takes a lot of energy and it's taxing and it's hard on a person when you can't fucking be truly who you are because you're acting and doing certain things in a certain way. Yeah, it really does suck, doesn't it, Robert? Maybe you should retire. Maybe you should refuse the next check or next payment from the other fan nation that's paying you to fucking do what you're doing fucking right now. Yeah, there you go. Troy Henry saying, all I can say by looking in from the outside, the team looks happy to me. Even Thaddeus Young was laughing on the bench. Let's go Raptors. There was another incident on Twitter with Shanika Young and fans. Fans on there saying, all right, we're pissed at Nick for saying what he said on Friday. And then why do we have bad vibe players on our team like Thad Young? And Shanika responded to this person saying, what makes you think my husband gives bad vibes to this team? Well, in some ways, that's fair, Shanika, because he did put out something about the writings on the wall versus Toronto Raptors last week. He has looked like he's like mourning something, or looked like he's fucking looking like somebody died or something, or he just looks like he's miserable in pictures on the Raptors Instagram account. And then even on the bench, he looks lost and a little bit out of it. And in some ways, forgive somebody for mistaking that he has bad vibes around him right now. He may just look sad, and he's fine on the inside of the team as far as he's still the same leader, building up guys, being an awesome dude, because that's all I've heard. In some ways, Chris Boucher said we would be nowhere this season without Thad Young keeping us together and being a vet leader. So I know where Shanika's coming from, but I also understand why the perception from the outside may be that he's giving bad vibes because he doesn't look happy. He's saying cryptic messages in his Instagram. But it could very well be, like Shanika said, have you been in that locker room? Have you seen what he does on this team? Then you have no idea what you're talking about. And she's exactly right also. But forgive us for thinking that he's bad vibes right now because of some of the things he's putting out right now, because it does look like bad vibes. But it may very well be nothing's changed behind the scenes, and that he's being a perfect pro, and that he's being an awesome teammate and a leader and a vet on this team still, even if he's not happy with not playing recently. So, yeah, very interesting stuff. I think that they've looked very good, too, like and very happy and very together. I think that in some ways, Scottie has felt like, all right, I can tell this. People think we're not together. Well, I want to make sure that people see that we are together, and they are for sure, because he's a leader in that way, too. That matters to Scott. People don't understand that. These people that love Scott so much and hate Fred so much don't realize that the way that they are goes against what Scott would want them to be. That you guys actually are displeasing Scottie Barnes when you hate Fred so much. You don't even realize that. If you actually know Scott, like we know, Fiercely Salsera, Cool Cat, Tom Duke, Isaac Campbell, all the people that were with him last year on Twitch, that he's the ultimate team player. And then in some ways, he's actually the ultimate NBA player, because he would even get mad at me for talking shit about Joel Embiid. I was like, Scott, that man stepped on your ankle and put you out of the playoffs last year, and you're still standing up for him. It's like, I don't have any enemies in the league, y'all. And I don't want you guys to be haters. No hating. Don't hate on anybody. Just stop hating. Share love. That is truly his ultimate message. And then if Pensair wants to be such a Scottie Barnes fanboy, he needs to fucking follow Scottie's number one rule. Share love, bro, and stop sharing hate. Because you're the epitome of what he doesn't like. He wants people to be positive. He wants people to be like good teammates and happy. And when you guys are doing what you're doing, it's very anti-Scottie. It's very anti who he is and how he believes and see things. And I don't know if you guys realize that you would shame you. He's ashamed of you guys for being haters. Is basically what he would say. I'm ashamed of you, Pensair, is what Scottie would say to you. That you're such a hater, that you don't share love like I do, like I want you to do. He told me straight up. I said, I fucking started cussing out about Richard Jefferson on his stream last year. I said, fucking Richard Jefferson's been a Raptor hater his whole time. He was on the Cavs, on the Nets. He's just been a jackass. And in the broadcast booth, he's always put us down. And I started talking shit about him in his comments. And Scottie said, whoa, hold on, fam. Pause. And he directly admonished me and said, no, Raptors freak. No. Richard Jefferson's cool, man. He's my guy. And we're not having this. No more being hateful. No more hating. You guys got to share love. Stop. And this is me. I'm in my 40s. And this is a 20-year-old kid telling me this. I learned from him that day. I'm not an old dog that doesn't learn new tricks. I can learn from young people. And I'm okay with that. And young people should be able to learn from older people, obviously, also. That, I'm not that kind of guy who's saying so stubborn. All right, I'm going to listen to Scott. And I'm going to try not to talk trash about Richard Jefferson in his stream anymore. In fact, we very much tried not to be negative and put down people in his stream anymore after that, because we realized Scottie doesn't like that. So Richard Jefferson was off the list for me to make fun of. So that's what I'm saying, Misovich. You're not living the life that Scottie would want you to live. You want to be a fanboy? You want to love Scottie and think Scottie's the best? Well, listen to Scottie and live the life that he'd want you to live and stop hating, because you're anti-Scott if you're hating. I'm going to tell you that right now. That may be the most important thing to him in his life, is being a lover, sharing the love. Get out there and touch grass and share the love. That was his message last year, every time he cut off his Twitch to go to bed. And that's what I'm saying. You know, that's the thing that these people that hate Fred and love Scottie don't realize. You guys are anti-Scottie by hating. And you got to, you may not realize it till it's too late. Scottie would tell you to his face, stop hating on my teammate Fred, my guy Fred. This is my dude, Fred VanVleet. Why are you fucking coming after my teammate? Like, seriously. Like, he would probably come straight to Pensair's channel and say, why the fuck are you attacking my teammate all this year? Like, seriously, I don't give a shit if you like me. You're fucking coming after my family, my bro, my guy, Fred. What the fuck? Seriously, I hate you. I hate you for hating Fred, even though you love me, is probably what he would say. Although he wouldn't hate. He'd probably be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, is what he'd say. Leslie's saying, for all the Fred haters out there, we have to understand that this guy went undrafted. He bet on himself. He's an all-star. He has a ring. He worked his ass off through the G League. He has a G League ring also. He went to the Final Four in his collegiate career. He has so many accolades. He's a franchise leader. The respect for him needs to be there. And the disrespect for him is just stupid. And it looks so bad. Seriously. Carlos here. Morning, fellow freaks. A great win last night. We're treating beatable teams as we should now, unlike earlier in the season. Yeah. Well, we got to have our shit together by this point. And we can't lose to a team with that kind of talent. Like yesterday, it would have looked really bad. And I would have been like, yeah, Nick Nurse fucked this team up if we'd lost yesterday. Well, we need to take care of business and get the one tomorrow too. Cool Cat saying, Lex, in Raptors live TV spaces, Fred was acknowledged for his 2020. Some users mentioned that the three-point shooting was rough. So they mentioned give OG more shooting attempts since Fred was off, 1 of 8 3-point attempts. Yeah. Well, this is why Jakob explained what he explained after the game. This is exactly why right here. Even if Fred's 1 for 8 and he's taking those shots, he has to. The defense is dictating that. And if he doesn't take the shots, it's bad for the team overall. Nick has said this also recently in his press conferences about the three-point shooting. And Jakob said the exact same thing. It's just part of the scheme, and it's what's expected of them. They want Fred to shoot those shots. Of course, they want him to make more of them. But he's shooting the shots that he's supposed to be taking because of the way the play is dictated by the defense and what they're giving us and opening up. And that there's nothing wrong with that. And the people that are complaining about him not shooting well last night, that's fine. Go ahead and complain about that. But you're looking at the one bad aspect of his really, really good game yesterday. Like, so many good things about what he did. If not, he did not shoot threes well yesterday. Okay, well, you can't always hit them all the time. But they're definitely explaining why. And thank you, Jakob Poeltl, for your public service and educating the Raptors nation on why Fred needs to shoot threes, because it is important. And you know what? It's not that he's taking away from OG. The whole situation with that is the defense is taking away from OG in those situations. The person that's going to get the shot is the person that's supposed to get the shot naturally. I wish that people would understand this in Raptors Nation. It's not like the Raptors can just decide, all right, Pascal, you're going to get 15 shots. Scottie, you're going to get 15 shots. Fred, you're going to get 15 shots. And then that's just how it goes. No, it all is on the fly, and it's all determined as it goes in the game. And we can't just say, oh, OG should have got more shots and Fred took shots away from him. That's not the way the game played. That's not the way it all laid out. That's not the way the defense allowed us to do it. And that we can't woulda, coulda, shoulda said, well, this person should have got more shots than this person because they didn't shoot that well. That's all bullshit. Hindsight kind of bullshit. Hindsight is 2020. And we circle right back to what matters the most about the game last night. Hindsight is 2020. Yeah, 2020. That's what matters. Smooth saying, I know that Nick Nurse wants to win in this moment with this team. He's living in the moment. I understand. I just want a new coach. In some ways, I do too. I mean, in some ways, we've been teased this weekend with the idea and the prospect of it all of a sudden. Nick, I don't know if that's what you wanted to happen from your press conference, but that's what's happened. We've all been kind of on our minds like, well, what would it look like if we had another coach for the Raptors? In some ways, that's why what you did was so fucking damaging. It's really damaging for yourself because in some ways, some people are already, there were a lot of people in Raptors Nation that already weren't real happy with your job. And now there's more of us that really were happy with it and that wanted you to be a Popovich for us. They're kind of like, well, let's pursue our options and let's see what is possible out there, possibly. A lot of this may not have to do with what we want. You know, as Mike said, he's under contract for next season. So he technically should be coming back and coaching us next year. But we'll have to see. Maybe Klutch is going to fuck his career up by giving him bad advice, and all of a sudden he won't be our coach. Well, so be it. Then we'll have to see what happens. We just got to ride this wave smooth and not really get ahead of ourselves. We got to see how all the dominoes fall as they go out the season, and then think about and let the process happen naturally on its time, whether it's him going away for a couple weeks and thinking about what he wants for his future, or Masai and Bobby deciding what they want to do from the front office. So we'll have to see. Let's see. Seymour saying, you called the walk in the park. You called the walk in the park? What is that? The walk in the park? I'm not even sure. Seymour saying, Hornets fans. Okay, it jumped. Why did it jump so bad? I don't want it to jump. I want to read that comment. Hornets fans deserve better. They had the whole organization sit out. Even Jordan didn't show up. Well, Jordan's half like, oh, yeah, I called the walk in the park. That's what you mean. The game would be easy. Yeah. Well, I mean, when I look at rosters, I really do handicap them. And I think about where the strengths are and what will be tough. And I'm like, if we were just coming from playing a Philadelphia team with Joel and James and playing at a high level and competing with them, of course we're going to crush the Hornets. Of course we're going to crush them. Hornets fans deserve better. They had the whole organization sit out. Even Jordan didn't show up. Yeah, I don't know what Hornets fans deserve. Listen, I don't give a shit about what they deserve or any of that. They can be a dumpster fire. That's fine. I don't care. I have no I don't care about anything with them. I mean, you know what? I don't really like LaMelo, so I don't want them to be successful. So in a lot of ways, I'm like, yeah, who cares? Let Charlotte be a dumpster fire and be at the bottom of the league every year. It's nothing wrong with that. Mike is saying what it sounds like is Nick is looking for a long-term contract, and the front office isn't ready to say yes on that yet. It's not that Nick isn't still the coach next year. It's based on the future of us. Well, that's what I'm saying. It didn't help his case. Seriously. If anything, that made people think about more alternatives other than him. And that's not good. Seriously, that is the worst way to go about what he wanted to do. Like, if he really wanted to do the long-term thing, why is he acting like he wants to leave? Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I'm going to give him a chance and see where he goes from here. Maybe you were right a little bit that he made one really bad miscalculation on Friday and he's trying to backpedal from it at this point. That would be good. And maybe it will be a path back to him being fine and everything going like I'd hoped, him being our Popovich. But, also I'm ready and open for whatever is going to happen. And I'm not that stubborn to say I want this to happen exactly this way. It can happen either way. We don't have Nick Nurse. We have Nick Nurse. I'm okay either way because I trust in Masai. That's what matters the most. Cool Cat saying, it is said Nick Nurse wants to win, not interested in developing. Spaces have lots of players' stands, and they challenge each other in their perspectives. I joined, then listen. Interesting views. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I wouldn't go in there. I mean, I don't know. I don't have enough time. It's interesting. That is maybe what the dilemma is with Nick Nurse. Is he a win now coach, or is he a development coach that can take the losing, or is he going to just go all out and play his starters, his ultimately best lineup, to the detriment of developing younger, not as good players? And because it's only win now. This is very much seems like his philosophy that Cool Cat's saying here, that he's more worried about winning than developing. And I hate that because in some ways we need more developing right now, especially if we're going to be a mid team. Seymour saying 8 stitches, swollen face, and I'm still at work. Holy crap. What happened to you, Sheriff? I don't like that. I don't like hearing that you're all messed up. Is that from your dentistry the other day? You had 8 stitches during your dental appointment? Holy crap. Hornets players need some heart. Very weak-minded players nowadays with what they are making. OG scared me for a minute, but I'm glad he's okay. Yeah, that was scary. And then the fact that he kept trying to play, like I said, dude, we don't need him to aggravate it worse just because he's trying to make a play. There's been a couple times recently where players have twisted an ankle or hurt themselves, and I feel like we need an official's timeout or a regular timeout by our team to get them out of the game and get them checked by Dr. McKechnie and make sure that they're not doing any further damage. You can't wait 2 trips running back and forth, you could be doing some really bad things, not to mention them being lame, hurting us on defensive schemes and allowing the other team to get quick scores and get into the game faster. I just feel like if you're a coach and you have a player get hurt out there, you should be like looking out for them. And in some ways, I see a trend more and more in the NBA where coaches aren't having the players' backs in that kind of way to stop play just in case. Maybe it's because there's too much acting and they don't really know when they're actually hurt or not. And they're like, oh, I can't do it. Oh, I wasn't really hurt that time, coach. I was just milking it to get a call. Ah, oh, damn, I just wasted a timeout. This is like a boy cried wolf kind of situation where this like, oh, are you really hurt or not? Do I need to pull this timeout? Well, no, I am hurt. I am. Please take me out. That the player may have pride and say, no, I'm going to play through it. I know Scottie would do that. He probably did do that in the first quarter last night. He hurt himself and he looked like he was very much hurt. I'm like, don't keep playing him. Take him out. There's no risk in that in this game. This game is not a tough game. You don't need Scottie out there. If you're going to risk getting him hurt more, take him the fuck out. Same thing with OG later. You do not need OG for this game. Take him the fuck out. And do not risk further injury just because, they say they can play. No, I'm okay, coach. I want to play. Don't fucking listen to the player. Take all precautions and take him out and let him sit for the rest of the game. I don't give a shit. It's the Charlotte Hornets. They got Steve Mahalik as their leading scorer. Fucking sit those guys if they just barely twist their ankles. Seriously. Don't even chance it. Oh, my gosh. Carlos says Dowtin has 1 game remaining. That's what I'm saying. We see him tomorrow night get out in the game. If he's suited for the game, even he doesn't even have to play, y'all. He just has to be suited up and available for the game, and that will count for the game. So in some ways, we need to have him either if he's going to show up and be ready to play, we need to convert him to the day after because we want him to be available for Boston and for the play-in. Cool Cat saying folks should not take stands seriously. It's funny. And on Raptors Live spaces, the folks respect each other and just love the debate. I listen to other team spaces and it's the same. I laugh a lot now. They respect each other? Seriously, in those spaces? That's interesting. Maybe Twitter space is a little more mature than Reddit or other places in certain places. That's interesting. I don't know. That's good that they can respect each other's differing opinions. I don't know. I'm not interested in these spaces. I know that sometimes I've seen that different people in Raptors Nation do the spaces, but I'm just not into it. But that's interesting. I like that you go in there and you know what's going on in there and you kind of tell us what they're saying. I do like that aspect, Cool Cat. Yeah, they're respecting each other. Are you being sarcastic? I can't read sarcasm through text. So maybe you are being sarcastic? I don't know. Fiercely saying Chev was Fred VanVleet's #1 supporter until the JJ Redick interviews. Either listen to the interviews or Chev's reasoning for switching up as he saw Fred valuing more the bag than his team, his opinion. There were some things in that interview that pissed me off about what Fred said, but overall I can forgive him. And they're kind of things that he said in the past at different times in his career already also. We got to understand, sure, the money does matter. The money to support his 3 children and his wife, the money to support his family, the money to support his lifestyle. Yeah, that stuff matters. But with what degree? This is the thing. The difference is here. Yeah, Fred will say the bag matters, and he wants to get bags for other people like Jakob and his teammates. But once again, this is what's been shown the last couple of times he negotiates with Bobby and Masai for his contract. He works within a frame, their frame of what they are willing to pay him, how much he wants, and how much they can pay him. And he finds that sweet spot with them. He's not overly like greedy, where he's like, I have to have this or I'm walking. No, he looks at their cap structure. In fact, he did his deal before the Giannis sweepstakes in a way that allowed us to get Giannis. Like other than getting rid of Serge and Mark, VanVleet had to have his contract done in a certain way that would open up the window enough for Antetokounmpo to fit in at that time in the Giannis sweepstakes. And people don't talk about that enough when it comes to Fred and his negotiations with his contracts, that he has already shown that within the team big picture of what they want to possibly be able to do maneuvering wise, that he will work with them and that he isn't overly greedy. And that we've seen the numbers that he gets being like, well, that's fair. The last 2 contracts that Fred has done, we haven't felt like we've overpaid. I've actually felt like this is a very fair, like right in the middle where he should be getting paid thing. Well, why would the negotiations with Masai and Bobby not go any different this way? Like, you really think he's going to stick it to us, Chef, and try and get like as much money as possible? No, because his track record with this in the team is not like this. That he very much works within the team's budget of what they're trying to do of the whole big picture, and that he's not like what you think he is, because the proof is in the pudding from the history. You can go back and look at when he's redone his deals. He's always tried to fit it and sandwich it in with what they want to do, but it's also a fair price that's fair to him also. So that's the thing he's not seeing. He can listen to what he said on JJ Redick, but understand that when it comes to what happens but in the boardroom with him and Masai and Bobby with this kind of stuff, they always work together and they find that sweet spot where it works for both sides. And that's the most important thing about Fred in his negotiating with his contract. Jimmy's saying they really need to lock it in if they want a chance against Boston and Milwaukee. I think we can win every damn game that's left. Damn, Pope of positivity. Woo, bow, bow, bow. Yes, I love that attitude. I think we can too, but it's going to take some luck. It's going to take something crazy happening in Boston to beat Boston twice on their home court. But I think we can get one of them on their home court. Once again, we got to see what they're trying to do at the end of the season with load management, with resting players, with what they want to be with their record and who they want to line up against in the playoffs. That all may have things to do with things and what happens. The last day of the season against Milwaukee, we have no idea who they're going to put in a uniform and show up and play against us at 1:00 on Easter Sunday. We have no idea if Giannis is going to play, or Drew Holiday, or Chris Middleton, or any of those guys. There's no guarantees on anything with these last 3 games with the Celtics and the Bucks. So we're going to just have to see what the terrain and the landscape. And my previews will be very helpful on those days with the referee report and the latest lineup news as far as what they're saying about who's going to get rested and who's going to be available for the Celtics and the Bucks in those games. It's going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting. Seymour saying, Jimmy, say it loud. We have a chance. We have a chance. Yes, we do. Seymour Pape. Yes, we do. And I hope you heal fast with your stitches in your mouth. Randolph saying, beloved Raptors freaks, most informative gang. The win was convincing and necessary. Play in, baby. Yes, congratulations, Toronto Raptors. You have qualified for the 2023 NBA play-in. And, well, it's not exactly where we want it to be. Like last year, we were in the playoffs. Well, we can get in the playoffs still. It's just we got to play in to get to the playoff. And, well, there is a chance, Seymour. That's right. There is a chance. Seymour saying 2020 Vision Fred had an amazing game. Yes, he did. Clap, clap, clap for Freddie. Freddie with the spectacles, with the 2020 Vision. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. Carlos saying Charlotte has been beating a lot of good teams lately. Yeah, but that was before when they had PJ and Dennis Smith. See, they're downgrading more and more players out as they get closer to the end of the season. They're shutting more and more of them down. And PJ Washington and Dennis Smith Jr. were a big part of the reason why they beat the Mavericks in both those games. But also, the Mavericks are a big part of that. Also, think about it. Look at what the Mavericks are doing right now. And realize Charlotte beating the Mavericks twice at the end of the season right now, well, that was just dumb luck that they caught Charlotte at this point in their season. I'm sure if Dallas had played Charlotte at the beginning of the season or even before they got Kyrie in the middle of the season, they would have beat the shit out of the Hornets. But it's all timing in the season. They got them when Kyrie is on their team now and made them a horrible team that has won 3 out of their last 13 games. And now the Charlotte Hornets, even though they're even worse than they were earlier this season, they're just good enough to beat the Dallas Mavericks in a home and home. I mean, that's really partly says more about the Dallas Mavericks in that game than the Hornets in some ways. It really does. Isaac Campbell saying W to all the good people. Yes, Isaac Campbell. W to you, the benevolent Isaac Campbell, holding it down in Ottawa. We love you, Isaac. You're a great man. Jimmy's saying, I'm not going to gas up Fred's performance because we were facing a shell of the Hornets. 20 assists is still hard to get regardless, so props to him. We need the steady Freddie for these last games, 100%. Yeah. I mean, it's true. That is a slouch opponent, but still, this is an accomplishment. No, think about all the different slouch opponents and all the different settings and all the different games the Raptors have played and all the opportunities somebody had to get 20 assists. Nobody accomplished that until now. And it could have been an easier setting to do it in the Damon Stoudemire years. It could have been an easier setting to do it in the Vince years or the Chris Bosh years or even in the Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan years. But no, it happened yesterday against the Charlotte Hornets, and it was Fred VanVleet. Yeah, that is an accomplishment no matter what. Getting 20 assists is a big deal. Trust me, it is a very big deal. Fiercely saying to Kyrie's defense, he's been balling out like crazy with the Mavs and has had great games with Luka as well. But for some reason, things don't click. Oh, well, that's their problem. Yeah, they don't have any defense. I mean, they can score like crazy, but they have no way of stopping the other team. And that is going to make them lose all the time. You do need just a little bit of defense, and they don't have any. And in some ways, they're like I said, they doubled down on one position, and now they have weaknesses all over the place. Otherwise, the only position they got right is point guard, and those two guys are fantastic players, two of the greatest players ever to play. But they don't have anything else, and it is really bad. It's really, really bad. Kyrie is an amazing individual player, but I don't think he's a good team player in some ways. I mean, his track record shows that. Sure, he won a championship with LeBron in Cleveland, but when he left, everybody hated him. Goes to Boston, he left, everybody hated him. Goes to Brooklyn, everybody hated him when he left. And well, everybody's gonna hate him when he leaves Dallas too. Watch. Mike saying Adam Miller was dating Adele first. What? What kind of dysfunction is this, Rich Paul? Holy crap. Maybe he traded. I don't know. Maybe Rich Paul's trading or something. Like, you can be in charge of Klutch if you let me date Adele. Come on, man. I'll let you be in charge of Klutch. If you just let me date Adele, please. I want her to write a sad song about me. Come on. Adam Miller is a sweet talker and schemer for sure, pushing Nick to say something so more articles are written, backfired with the fan base. Yeah, I think it just backfired in general. Like, it didn't really get across what he needed to get across. In fact, this may have made it harder in some ways. You've got to understand, we're a straightforward organization. We're not about bullshit, chicanery, kind of crazy ass like things like this. Say what you mean what you say, and do what you do, and you'll be taken care of in this organization. No sarcasm, no bullshit. Just be who you are, authentic. That's what Masai demands of this team. And if Nick was doing something ingenuine on Friday, well, it looked really out of place in our organization and how we do things. Yeah, we're not about that kind of stuff. Say what you mean what you say. And if you do something like that, look out, because you may step in it. And Nick definitely stepped in it. But Adam Miller, bad advice, bro. Bad advice, bro. Come on, broski. Don't be telling Nick to do something stupid like that, man. Come on now. Cool Cat saying context matters with NBA Chef. He said would do that. He said would do what Fred did in Hornets game. He praised his 2020 accolade and Pascal stats. He said he also wants us to be competitive in a Sixers type game. Yeah, I mean, I'm not hating on Chef. But if he's doing Pansera kind of stuff, then I'll be upset. But otherwise, nah. As long as he's staying positive, supporting the team, and he loves the team, and he has the best intentions for the team to win, then I have no problem with Chef. It's just somebody was saying earlier that he was coming after Fred or something, and I'm like, no, I ain't about that. Ain't about that. Duke saying, agree, Lex. I don't think I've ever seen this much negativity around the Raptors. I guess 10 years of winning has spoiled some. Yeah. I mean, I think it's also that it's just out there. Maybe we look for it a little bit more and we have more access to it. Like, it's before it maybe was always out there. It's just that they were in their houses and they had nobody to talk to. They were just talking to the wall. Yeah, I fucking hate Vince Carter and this, they go off on this and this. There could be a lot of that that's been happening. It's just the access and the connectivity because of social media and everything makes it more in our face and we see it more. So I don't know. It's hard to say whether this is more or not. There's a lot of things in life that people say, oh, there's more and more of this, like diseases or allergies or things like that. Well, these kind of things were always around. It's just that we weren't as perceptive and acknowledging them or knowing that they were there. Like some people say, oh, there were no people in drag back in the day. Well, there always have been people in drag. It's just you're not paying attention. There's been people in wigs and wearing makeup, men in dresses all throughout the history of time. So it's like some people conveniently start saying, oh, this wasn't there. It's never been here. It's like this. Well, it has. It's just you're not paying attention, or maybe the spotlight wasn't on it as much because there's not as much interconnectivity and stuff. Like people talk about crime. Has crime always been this bad? Oh my gosh. Well, it has kind of been always kind of bad. It's just that we didn't hear about every little bit about it because of interconnectivity. So that is a play in and part of this phenomenon, Duke. As far as the way I look at it, is that we're just more connected than ever, and that's why we're seeing and feeling the negativity more. In some ways, I maybe next season, I know that it's going to happen. I'm going to have to talk about negative takes and stuff like that. But in some ways, I'm going to maybe like change my attitude about being way more positive and taking that Scottie kind of attitude of not shining a light on the negative stuff or even giving it more audience or anything. I may very much try and be as positive as possible next season just to try and safeguard a space where we don't talk about this so much. I feel like this year's been mired with this way too much. And then we have so many good things to talk about that maybe we should just focus on them and stop talking about the haters so much. Stop talking about these he who shall not be named and other places like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to gauge this or measure this. And how will we have known when people were negative during the Bosch and Bargnani era when we weren't on social media like we are now? So that may be very true, though, that it is more than ever now. But it's just because we can see it. Cowboys saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. What a great game. Let's do it again and again and again and again, all the way to the championship. I believe we are a team. Teams don't beat us when we beat our, when we all right. Teams don't beat us. We beat ourselves. Let's go. All right, Bradley, you have a great day. Bam, bam, bam. If you're working, if you still got time off because of the birth of your new son, whatever you're doing today, just have a great day, Bradley. We love you and we appreciate your patronage here all the time. Positivity. Leslie saying Toronto is a unique place in the NBA. We get very little exposure, so the online community has more of a voice. TNT or ESPN for everyone. Raptors tonight just for us. Yeah. I mean, other teams have this kind of stuff too. It's just we don't see it. There's a Raptors freak for each of these channels. There's a guy out there doing a YouTube channel just like me that's passionate about it, and maybe not exactly like me, but there are people out there that are doing different things in different fan nations just like we have. I'm sure there's like a Hornets tonight that maybe they're online and there's a press conference afterwards and stuff like that. It's just we're just not really tuned in on it. Now, I do like that we're getting more like respect, like I said earlier, in the press and the U.S. media, that we are getting more like in the national televised game that we had recently where we won. That was a big deal. The one against Miami last week, because we looked really good and they could say all kinds of really glowing things about us on TNT. And that is a big thing. Like we need to look good in these U.S. national televised games because this is very few of the chances that they do see us down there. So when we play a game against Milwaukee and we only score like 12 points in the first quarter, that's awful. That's not the foot forward we want to put to show the U.S. what we're doing up here. We want to do more like the Miami game last Tuesday and show our very best on the national scale down there. And that will give us more respect in general. They see us play like shit against the Bucks last fall. They're like, yeah, the Raptors really suck, and they don't give us any respect. So it really is when we have these national televised games in the States. The Raptors needs to rise the occasion and put on their best game so that we look real good to them. Seymour saying, so true to Leslie. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, we do have more of a market and more kind of things because we have the whole country and we have a bigger audience in some ways. So, yeah, I can get what you're saying. Fiercely saying, whoever's saying the Poeltl trade was a mistake is on something real strong. Yeah, they're on something for real. Respectfully, such a silly statement. Facepalm. I know, seriously. Like, it's ridiculous. You can't see the difference in having a center on our team and how it's opening things up. And things are so much easier for our team in different ways. And we have a rim protector. That we have a great screen and roller. We have a great pick and roll kind of game all of a sudden. We have a great high post passer that threw a great lob alley-oop to Pascal Siakam in the second half last night. Where are these people and what game are they watching? You cannot see how good Pascal and the other guys are getting good stuff from Jakob and how he helps everybody. Oh, my gosh. So silly. So silly. Space Cadet saying, Chef keeps repeating that Fred only cares about money and doesn't want to win. That's disingenuous. Okay, so you guys are saying two different thing. If Fred cares about more than just money. And I'll fight this fight every single time. People keep saying this kind of stuff. Anyway, I don't want to come back at Chev too much because it's kind of unclear what he's exactly saying. Fun guy saying Rob is from New York. He means Chev and Pensair. Both Americans from New York. Okay, Rob's from New York. I thought he was over on this side of the border. Okay, well then this makes it even more like he's like, all right, then he's probably working for the Nets or he's working for the Knicks. I don't know. All right, well if he's in New York and he's American, then what the fuck is anybody listening to this guy talk about the Raptors? Seriously, I can get behind Chev because he's passionate. I can tell he really does love the Raptors. But why the fuck are any of us listening to a guy from New York like that, like Robert Misovich? Seriously, why? I don't understand that. I mean, why would you listen to this dude? He's not even on this side of the border. When's the last time he went into Scotiabank Arena? Seriously, has he ever even been in Scotiabank Arena? So why the fuck would anybody want to listen to this motherfucker? I did not know that. I thought he was here in Canada. Well, okay, well, he's a fucking idiot, and nobody should be listening to him. MSJ saying the dark triad in my theory of personality of shall never be named. Wikipedia it. I'm joking about it, to be honest. But then again, Machiavellianism is strong in him. You are the light triad. All right, I like that. I like that. Yeah, I don't want to even give him that kind of a compliment. Machiavelli was a very interesting figure in the history of the world. And he has been used, that term has been used in all kinds of different ways, of course, being very closely tied to Tupac in certain ways and stuff like that. Some people like to have this allure that they're Machiavellian with their ideas of being like a bad guy or a villain, and they can get away because they're so smart and they make such nice plays and stuff like that. In some ways, it's a compliment. I don't really like that. I don't really like that. I like being the light triad, though. That's nice of you to say that. I don't know who's the other people that are in the bad side because I don't think Chev is. If anything, Chev and Chris are with me in the light triad, and that Pensair is with some other people that I don't even know and I don't want to, because if they're like Pensair, I don't want to know more people like him. G's saying the better Fred does, the more these more rabid these haters become. Instead of being more happy for the team, I will never understand this level of obsession and hate. I know it's ridiculous. It really is. Like he's made a brand of hating Fred, honestly, and some people really like it and they fall in with him on it. Yeah, it's so dumb. It is so dumb. And in some ways, we just got to continue to shine the light and be positive Raptor fans that really love and support Fred and show him that there is a whole bunch of us that actually do really value and appreciate and celebrate him. Unlike these ungrateful little shits that follow Misovich. Logical saying Svi was here when his country was getting attacked by Russia. I think he really was distracted and wasn't fully there in mind. That's understandable. Seriously. And there were all kinds of different things going on with him. He failed, and it was hard for him to deal with failure at that time. He really did lose confidence when he played for the Raptors. You saw it, like right around December, he just lost all confidence. He played really well in October and November. And then at some point in December, when things started clicking with the team overall, he did not click anymore. And he played really poorly after that. We couldn't depend on him, and it got worse and worse. MSJ saying, as for the money, all the players care about that. It's a primary concern, and it's their job, so big deal. What matters is if the team wins. If winning comes, the money. So 20 assists means more money. So simple. Yeah. I mean, honestly, do people go to work just to go there because they enjoy it? No, they go there to get the paycheck. And that is true in a lot of ways. And in some ways, listen, it's hard because this is a child's game. A lot of people say, well, you're playing a kid's game and it's fun. And in some ways, they really do enjoy it. And some of them really do care about the game first and wanting to play the game and having fun playing it and getting better at it. But the money does matter because you want to be able to have a lifestyle. You want to be able to be compensated for what you do. And you do generate a lot of money because you play in a sport. And in some ways, in the history of the NBA, the owners got way more than their share and the players didn't get as much. And that's the thing that people don't realize about the NBA. That they see these exorbitant salaries, but they don't understand how much money the owners are making also. And then in some ways, the players need to get their fair share of the pie. And that is part of the fight. The fight isn't even with each other for getting money or the fans saying, oh, this guy's getting paid too much. The fight sometimes is with the ownership as far as getting the fair share of the pie for the profits of the team for the players, because they're the engine that drives making that money. And in some ways, that has been the most biggest battle in the NBA as far as contract wise is between the owners and the players. And then in some ways, you on the owner's side, people that get so upset about pay for the players, you shouldn't be, because they're not the ones that you should be on the side of. You should be on the players' side. And you should celebrate the players getting paid, because it's not your money. It's Larry Tannenbaum's money. And in some ways, we want to celebrate and get the players paid. So people that quibble and say, "Oh, they're paying too much for him," like somebody said earlier, 30 million, you're gonna pay 30 million a year for Fred? That's such a ripoff. Well, why is it a ripoff? Is it a ripoff to you? Personally, no. It's a ripoff to the owner. Okay, you can maybe say that, but why do you care? And if the owner was willing to pay that, why do you fucking care? And why are you so critical about just a money number? That's what I'm saying. The conflict in this whole thing, the whole time, the NBA has been the owners versus the players. It has nothing to do with anything else. Okay, so you want to side with a bunch of old rich white guys, and they'll have a whole ton of money and are often billionaires already, and the rich get richer, or you want to help some young guys who work really hard, fine tuning their craft, and made so many sacrifices in their lives, busted their ass, and didn't have a guaranteed chance for sure to make money, finally get that payday finally? Yeah, I'm going to side with them every single time. I'm sorry. That's just how it is with me. G saying Rogers' son didn't even want to pay Masai. Players know that they're just commodities in the grand scheme of things. No, this sounds cynical, but it's true. They need to treat themselves like a business. G's exactly right. And he's reiterating what I just said. He's exactly right. You look at how they treated Masai. Seriously, Ted Rogers III. It's a perfect example of it. G saying, while supporting and helping their teammates, both things can be true. That's right. They can do both. It's not that they're in conflict of each other. And I hope Shev understands that. That in some ways, look, Fred wants money. We know that. But as I said earlier, he's willing to work with Bobby and Masai more than the average NBA player to get that figure to work right with the puzzle pieces so that everything fits. And that is a proven track record. I can tell you and show you the last couple times Fred's contracts come up that he very much has worked with them to make it all work, and that he's been very helpful in those instances also. He took like a really weird contract actually to try and help us get Giannis at that time. He really did. It was loaded in all kinds of weird ways where he would get different money in different years, and they weren't all making total sense. You can ask Mike. Mike knows about his contract pretty good. Seymour saying both BioSteel games were pretty cool. Jama James had a crazy dunk future looking bright for the North. Yeah, the BioSteel was yesterday. They had Leo Routins down there calling the games and stuff like that. I didn't see any footage or anything, but I'm sure it was a really good event. Both the ladies and the men's playing down there. And then also we got to mention this NCAA women's final yesterday with Iowa and LSU. What an amazing day for women's basketball yesterday. Getting a main page, front page sports kind of attention that women's basketball deserves more and more going forward, with lots of drama, some controversy, some ugliness about like things with the two main players there with the, yeah, and the way they're treating the two different women about that is very ugly in some ways. It's showing some racist shit, but also like just amazing that they're getting put on blast. There's so many people tuned in, so many high prices for the tickets to go to the game that was celebrated. And we're seeing a new era in basketball where women's basketball is getting more elevated. And I'm all about it. I think that when we have this game here in Toronto, this WNBA game, it's going to be a part of that whole thing. And we're going to start seeing women's basketball get way more respect around the world in different ways. I'm all about this. Make some stars. Make them on more equal footing. Listen to Charles Barkley and give them more endorsements and put them more on blast. Women's basketball is rising up, and I'm here for it. You go, ladies, and good job yesterday with a fantastic finals game. So I'm going to say the referees got a little too involved at the end of the game, but it is what it is, and it looked like it went off really well, and it's definitely getting front page kind of headlines and people talking about it today. And that is all good for for women's basketball. It's all good for it. Really is. Cool Cat saying, Lex, folks bringing in snippets from others, and now you have talking negative without proper context. Advice: keep focused on your show and don't respond to others unless you list it for yourself. All right, she's telling me about Chev. She's being a Chev stan. I'm okay with that. I don't know what they're saying. I mean, Space Cadet's saying that he's coming at Fred for contract stuff. Well, I don't know what he said exactly, so I won't put words in Chev's mouth. But Space Cadet's saying something, you're saying something else. I don't know exactly what Chev's saying. So all I'll say is exactly what I see with Fred with the contract stuff. And I explained it. So hopefully, maybe Chev, if he does watch me, he doesn't probably, and he hears me, he'll go and look at what I'm talking about as far as what Fred's past is with contract negotiations. And maybe this will assuage any kind of fears that he has about like money with Fred. But yeah, you're right. I don't want to step on any toes, and I don't want to mischaracterize anybody from other places. And I do, in some ways, trust people in this chat to tell me what they're saying, and it may not all be accurate. So I'm always not above reproach, and I can be corrected very often. So if I am exactly not right with this, and you hear me, go ahead and correct me and let me know. But yeah, I don't want to put words in Chev's mouth. I think Chev is a great channel, and I fully endorse him. But if he is saying something about Fred, well, there's my counterpoint to that, and it's all done respectfully. It's all done respectfully. Mike's saying Dowtin still has 2 games before the G League starts. The 50 games don't count. What? No, Mike. They said on the broadcast yesterday that he has 1 game left. He had their 2 games were yesterday, and then 1 more, and then boom, he can't play for us unless we convert him. Leslie's saying Rico runs. Has that helped us? I respect the man, but Delano is becoming an old guy on the bench. Love the shirt, Lex. Yeah, I love this shirt too. I'm so glad I got this way back when the bench mob was going on, because now it comes around and boom, we got Jakob back on the team. It's a fantastic shirt to have at this point. Okay. Rico Hines runs. Has that helped us? I think so. I think it was helpful. It was weird in a way, but I think it did help in some ways. But I'm wondering, yeah, in some ways we should have been way more connected. The way that we played a lot at Rico Hines, and in some ways we looked good coming the season, but somewhere it fell apart. I don't know. In some ways, I'm not totally. I get what you're saying. Delano, yeah, I want to see him play more. When Delano got in the garbage time yesterday, he looked heavier. Did he look like bigger to you guys? Like he looked like he wasn't as skinny. He looked like he had a little bit more weight on him. And that's a good thing. I want to see more of that stuff like that. I was happy to see Delano finally get back out on the court. He's been hurt with his thumb for too long recently. Hopefully he'll get a little bit of good burn. I'd like to see him play a lot more against Charlotte tomorrow for sure. Cool Cat saying Rico runs is not the entire training program. Raptors have used Rico's summer runs every year since Masai. It's just the first time that everybody saw clips on YouTube. Well, we've had them every year. It's just that they haven't been put on blast like they were last year. And it really was a different kind of thing with the Raptors being there almost every single one of them. In the past, we would have people at the Rico runs, but it would maybe be like 6 or 7 of them and not like 12 of them. And so that's a little bit of a different thing this year. But yeah, the clips were always up every summer. It's maybe not as many or as much inundated with them, but there were clips in summers before where you can probably see Pascal and other Raptors working out with James Harden in summers past also. So, but yeah, they do other stuff during the summer too. Obviously, they're working out with their personal trainers. Obviously, they're doing stuff at OVO. Maybe they're meeting in certain ways with certain coaches and different things in different places. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff they're doing. Come on, get this siren out of here. Ah, my gosh. All right, Duke's saying when it comes to the Raps, everything is a common foul. Elbow to Koloko's face. We don't need to check that for a flagrant. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Once again, I don't care. The refs are going to be the refs, and we just got to accept what they're doing and just play through it and be that much better. They're not going to be totally fair. And yeah, I thought that was hilarious. Honestly, the entertainment value of Tony Brothers saying that was a common foul was enough for me to just laugh. And then see how mad Matt Devlin was about it afterwards. That made me laugh too. So it was entertaining at least, if not totally wrong, probably. Mike's saying, I got the language wrong on the end of the G League season, and it being the playoffs included. Even if your team isn't in the playoffs, the language is in the CBA. Didn't make that point clear. Okay, Mike. Okay. I think they were making it pretty clear on the broadcast, so we kind of see it. Blackhawk saying the CBA is moving the 2-way contracts to a 3-way contracts. More opportunity for the rookies. Yeah, I hear that there's some different things with the mid-level exception and some other things that are going on with this new CBA in certain ways. And one of the things I've heard that I'm not very happy about is that one of the things they've allowed for is they're going to allow for more Supermax players at the top. And then in particular, this is going to help the Cavs. That the Cavs already have like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland or something on a Supermax. and they want to put a super max on Evan Mobley where they were going to have a trouble with doing that. Well, the NBA has conveniently changed the rules just in time so that it will help the Cavs be able to do this. In some ways, that pisses me off. I've always thought that they bend over backwards for Dan Gilbert since LeBron went to South Beach. And this kind of seems like it continues to be like that kind of thing, where they give little gimme nice things to Cleveland every once in a while that I don't like. And so there's going to be some different things with some of our exceptions and some of the things you can do with your roster that I don't totally understand because I don't really get into that. But I'm sure Mike needs to go look at all the CBA stuff and see how this may change and alter some of the spreadsheets and plans that he's been looking at as far as our big picture with our salary cap in the years to come. The rules have changed, and there may be more things that are possible all of a sudden that Masai and Bobby can do because of the new CBA. So I'm interested to see that. Cool Cat saying, I think Barton might be cut. He is injured. He was probable and could have suited up yesterday, but he didn't. He was in street clothes at the end of the bench with Gary. I think it might be Barton too. That may make sense. I mean, if it's Wheezy, Wheezy's fine too. Either one of those guys is kind of not. I'd be shocked if it's Thad, but it could very well be Thad, and there may be different reasons for that also. Although I, once again, will say over and over again, Thaddeus Young is very valuable for playoffs, no matter what. Even if he's not playing, he's just a good emergency person to have around for a playoff kind of thing. So in some ways, he has a lot more value than Will Barton or Joe Weezy. Now, in some ways, you want to maybe keep that vet, Will Barton, and you cut Joe Wieskamp. That it's just like, yeah, it's just not going to work. And you're not going to give us what we need. We want Jeff instead. So I hope this is what happens. I think it'd be a travesty if Jeff Dowtin Jr. is not playing in our play-in game. That it would be a really dumb mistake. Evelyn saying, good morning, sending big hugs and lots of love to all the Raptor freaks. I love you, Evelyn. Oh, big hug for Granny Evelyn. She's the best. Jason Williams is laughing about it. You go, Jason Williams. Tom Duke is saying, so true about Scottie Barnes. He would tell the haters to shut up for sure. Let's go, Captain Fred, and keep winning Raptors. That's right. Tom Duke knows. He was there, Tom Dukey. Tom Dukey knows because Scottie Barnes says, hey, Tom Dukey, no hate, Tom Dukey. Share the love, only the love, Tom Dukey. Is what Scottie Barnes would tell us, that he would teach us in the wise ways of SB4. So, Robert, if you want to be a Scottie Barnesite, you better go to his church and learn what his sayings are and learn how he preaches, because you ain't doing his teachings. No, you're not. You're supposed to love, not hate. And you're very anti-Scottie when you hate Robert Pensair. And that's what Tom Duke is telling you, and that's what I would tell you, and that's what Scottie would tell you to his face, to your face. He would say the same damn thing. All right. Cool Cat is saying something about the Clippers. Let me see what it is. A jump. Let me get back. La, 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 la. Clippers fans are not happy with Norm anymore. In spaces, they complain about his defense and IQ. Norman never talked bad about the Raptors chip. Other teams' fan bases won't love you like we do. That's right. Seriously, Norm, you got us. We love you here, but if you downplay our championship and make it sound like it was like a lucky thing that happened, that y'all didn't work hard for it and earn it, you make it seem like it was something that we were just lucky to get. That's not the way to do it, Norman. It doesn't help you, and it hurts you with us. Trust me. Just be happy you got that championship and don't sully it. And yeah, look, you see, other people are going to turn on you that quick and stuff like that. You can always have your home here in Toronto and realize that. But yeah, interesting. So Cool Cat's going to all spaces. She's not even in Raptor spaces. She's going to other fan nation spaces and sussing them out. Once again, I'd love to see Mike or Cool Cat, since she has this interest, to go into like our opposing team, the next game spaces, and go find out what they're saying. What is Hornet fan on the street saying today? Go into their space today, Cool Cat. And tomorrow, when we do the preview for the second game against the Hornets, you can give us intel about what the average Charlotte Hornet fan is saying on the street. And then, go into those Celtic spaces for us the next day and give us the report on what they're saying the next game. Ooh, this would be fun. I don't want to give you any unnecessary work if you don't want it. But if you're already going into those spaces, and you can go in and get intel for us and share here on the Raptor Freak channel some things about what opposing fan nations are saying, that'd be awesome. I love that. I know Mike has kind of looked at that kind of stuff before. He'll go and look and see what other fan nations are saying. But if you're doing that already too, please continue to do that. and maybe orient it around teams that we're about to play. Carlos saying, it's so funny that the Fred slander is being a chucker. I know, it's so dumb. He gets a 20 assist game. Now they say he's stat padding. Laugh out loud. He can't do anything right in their eyes. If he doesn't shoot enough, they'll say he's not trying hard enough. If he shoots too much, he's too selfish. If he passes too much, he's a stat padder. Oh my gosh, these people. I mean, Fred plays so well right now. He just shows what idiots they are, and that they're just so blind in their hate. It's so dumb. Seymour saying 2020 Fred vision was more exciting than WrestleMania yesterday, in my opinion. Wow. Yeah, WrestleMania weekend. A little bit of weird weekend. I did not watch it. I only heard little things from it. Rhea Ripley beating Charlotte to become the SmackDown Women's Champion. The Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens winning a tag team title belt matchup themselves. And then last night, I heard that Shane McMahon got very injured in his game last night. You know, he's around the same age as me, and he's crazy. Like, he does stupid shit. Like, he's a hot shotter, and he'll go out there and he'll jump off a cage like 40 feet into a table, even though he doesn't wrestle all year. He'll go out there and mess up wrestling. And so anybody can do this. And I can come out here and just be crazy and be a daredevil. It's my thing. Well, that kind of came around and burned you last night, Shane O'Mac, trying to do your thing at WrestleMania. Well, you very seriously hurt yourself, it seems, and you're not any younger than you were. And maybe you shouldn't be doing crazy ass stunts for one-offs for 1 year and stuff like that. Anyways, yeah, I would believe this. I had much more fun watching the Charlotte Raptors game with all the dunks and the highlights than probably watching WrestleMania if I had watched that instead. Cowboys saying, have a great day, Lex and the Raptor Freaks. Have a great day. The sun is shining. F all the Fred haters. See you guys tomorrow, hopefully. And what's up, Granny Evelyn? Later, Raptor Freaks. Got to go back to the hospital. Well, I hope Anya can get out of the hospital soon, and that the baby comes home soon enough, and everything is just healthy and good. And all is good in Bradley world. All right. Leslie saying, Lex, I think we need to eliminate the word hate from our vocab. Wars start because of hate, dislike, disagree, and fuck it or them might be better. You know, I think you're right. You know, in some ways, maybe I do need to train my brain a little bit more with this. I mean, I do hate people. I mean, I can be honest and stuff like that. In some ways, you're right. And that's something that Scottie would tell me. It's like, stop hating, bro. Just stop being a hater. Being a hater is tough. Well, I'm passionate. And in some ways, people get passionately hate because they get mad at other people. And in some ways, you hate the haters. That's a hate on top of a hate. And maybe that isn't the right way to be. So maybe you're right, Leslie. I'm going to very ponder this and meditate on this sometime this week. And maybe I will amend some of the things that have happened on this channel this season. You know, this has been a rocky year, and there's been a lot of opportunity to be unhappy or uncomfortable or be a hater. And maybe I need to be above that and just be like, yeah, I'm going to really think about what you're saying here and see if I can amend things and train my brain to eliminate that word. I think it's a good idea. Smooth saying, rest in peace, Greg Francis, a Canadian basketball legend. Terrible news. I don't know who Greg Francis is, and I hate to hear this, that somebody's passed. I will have to go do research on this. I do not know this story at all. But Smooth, I will definitely, because you brought it to light, I will definitely go and find out about it and get educated on this subject. Let's see. Blackhawk saying, I don't care about Nick Nurse's interviews. The issue for me is, can we pull out more wins than the Hawks? Fred needs to get high assists over Celtics and Bucks where it matters. Hornets are practice for us. Yeah, I say that. I can't disagree with this in a lot of different places. So sure, he can play really good against the Hornets. Well, hopefully he can continue to play really good against the top teams after this also. I'm with you on that. Mike saying, when the reporter said Dowtin has 4 games left, there was 6 games left in the season when that comment was made. I checked it and found the error I made. Checked how many games it was he had to sit. It was sit too. All right, Mike, I don't care about you correcting yourself or nitpicking. All I know is Matt Devlin and Alvin said what they said in the broadcast, and I'm just going to go by what they said. They said that he has 1 more game that he can play, and then after that, he has to be converted or he won't be able to play anymore. So he can play exactly 1 more game as of right now. That's all I know. I'm going to go by them. You're too confusing and muddling it all with everything that you're saying and all the extra shit. I'll just go by what Matt Devlin said. Matt Devlin said he has 1 game left, and that's all I'll go by. All right? Just keep it simple. Monique saying 16 years ago was Mo Pete's amazing shot versus the Wizards, and he appreciates me for posting it. Awesome. So Monique put in Mo Pete. Monique putting Mo Pete on blast for that huge half-court shot against the Washington Wizards a way long time ago that won the game. Was amazing. And Mo Pete obviously has liked it and appreciates her remembering his moment. That's awesome. So yeah, I bet you she probably got him reached out to her and saying that about it. That's awesome. I love that. Mike's saying, laughing my fucking ass off. Adele for Klutch. I don't know. Maybe. I know that is kind of like bad taste, the joke. But who knows? Maybe it is like that. Rich is like, yeah, you can run Klutch. You just let me date Adele. Get out of the way, bro. Seymour saying, who dunked on Norman Powell? I can't find it. It was somebody. It was crazy. Like he really dunked on him. I forget what game it was. Of course, I don't pay that close attention. All I know is Norman got dunked on really badly, really, really badly. It was it in the. It was on the Saturday night game, I think, and it was against. They were playing the Nuggets. Were they playing the Nuggets on Saturday night? It was an important game that they lost, and everybody's coming down on the Clippers for losing on Saturday night. I think it was the Nuggets. I think it was one of the Nuggets that threw down on him. Country Kong saying, good morning, Raptor Freaks. What an impressive game we saw from Fred. Let's keep the charging forward toward the play-in. My only complaint is I hope Nick can be nicer to Lindsey when she asks her question. You know, I'm not with that. I am all about him being mean to her. I thought that was awesome. Seriously. It showed that he cared, Country Kong. And that's what I needed to know from Nick. In fact, I was so happy he yelled at her. I am so happy he did that. Because it showed he doesn't want to keep wallowing in that bullshit and that he fucked up on Friday and he doesn't want to continue it anymore. That he wants to stop. And then he realized that it was a distraction. And then he realized he's doing bad things for the team when he did that. So he wanted to end it right there. So I'm so happy that he yelled at her. In fact, it made me have more faith in him as our coach again. That he showed a passion in saying, I fucked up. I shouldn't have said this. And he didn't say that exactly, but that's what the emotion is. That no, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to talk about the team, is what he said. He said, I want to talk about the team, and I want to talk about winning, and I want to talk about the game. I don't want to talk about me anymore. And I appreciate him for doing that. So I'm exactly the opposite. I'm glad he got mad at Lindsey Dunn. She's a tough girl. She can handle it. She had her little laugh about talking about the minutes and minutes policing him. And then him saying, are you happy with the amount of minutes that I played Pascal? And she's like, yeah. Well, now he's yelling at her for bringing up questions like that. He wasn't just yelling at her. He was yelling at Michael Grange also. Because Grange got all pissed off about it too. Because they keep coming at him with those questions. He doesn't want to ask them. He answered it already. He knows it was a bad move. Trevor's saying, I don't like when fans from other teams talking about the Raptors cause there's only one championship and one winner. So if we don't win and you don't win, we all lose. Yeah. I mean, seriously, whatever. They're going to characterize our shit. Other people from other fan nations, they're out of pocket. Cleveland fans crazy. Get them started on Scottie Barnes. Oh, my gosh. They're crazy with what they say. MSJ saying, no, my guy, look at what the Dark Triad is. It's one person. The Dark Triad. See, I don't know. Is this like Lord of the Rings or something? Is this some sort of like thing? I just don't know. I don't know anything about this. What is the Dark Triad? Let me see what this is. The Dark Triad. I'm just going to put it in. It's a phrase you unlikely heard around the workplace. It's narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Okay, that's what you mean. Okay, so he's establishing these traits of psychopathy, Machiavellianism, and narcissism. Okay, so it's all in Misovich, is what you're saying. I get it now. Thank you for elaborating. I thought it was 3 people because of, obvious of that, but now I know what you mean. All right, cool. I learned something. Thank you, MSJ. Logical saying Adam Miller has been around for a while. He was Kevin Garnett's agent, but he's a guy with connections for sure, but is scheming a lot on how to push things for clients and himself in turn with attention. Okay. Doesn't sound like a good person to be around. Well, that guy's in Nick Nurse's representation. Yeah. Blackhawk saying, cool down, Lex. He who shall not be named is an American that migrated to Canada. Okay. Secondly, people are not giving you the full context. This is your site and time. They should stop bringing up other sites. Okay. All right. So this is somebody who's, I guess Blackhawk's kind of standing up for Robert, but still. Listen, I don't care. I can blindly not like that guy. There's nothing wrong with that. He blindly doesn't like Fred. So in a counterbalance, that's what I'm doing. I'm blindly not liking him back. Okay, so he's American who came here. So he does live here in Canada. All right, and they're not giving me the full context. Well, I did see the piece that he put out last night on Twitter. I did see it because Fred Propaganda retweeted it and put his counterbalance to it. Yeah, his what he said about last night with Fred and stat padding, he's an idiot. So yeah, I hate that guy. Oh no, I said it again, Leslie, and I'm sorry. But no, I don't like that guy. I don't think that he's very good for our nation. And I don't care. I mean, I understand, and maybe I shouldn't bring up other sites, but everybody else is bringing them up and bringing them in here, and I can't just like blindly like just say, okay, we don't talk about this here. We don't talk about this. I wish I could do that, but it's impossible. And this is a free speech, and everybody's going to talk about whatever they want to talk about. Well, they're going to bring up him. They're going to bring up Chev. They're going to bring up other channels. And if I haven't watched them and I don't know exactly what they're saying, you're right. I'm out of the blue, and I'm kind of relying on you guys to give me truthful information. So, but it is what it is. I wish I didn't have to talk about them, but we bring it up, and I'm not going to say this is not. I don't like having too many rules on this channel, and in some ways, I don't want to make a rule. Like I already say, he shall not be named, and we shouldn't be talking about him. And I feel like that should be enough. I mean, we could just make a clean break from this guy and make him like Donald Trump, where he's just like not, he doesn't matter. He's like, there's nothing about him that it matters at this point. He's not relevant. Let's just put it that way. The more irrelevant he becomes and goes away, the much better and happier I'll be. Seriously, I want him to just quit. Like if he could just quit, or maybe go focus on another team or do something else. Maybe he needs to do a general basketball channel and not just like focus mainly on the Raptors and Fred. Like maybe he needs to go and like cover the whole NBA in general or just basketball in general and stop being so focused on the Raptors, because in some ways he doesn't seem like he likes the Raptors. It's like if you hate the Raptors so much, why do you cover them so much? Is kind of what I'm saying. Space Cadet saying, who cares where he's from? Look at his last video going at Fred individually. The guy's a joke. He's just a troll. Exactly. Well, that's the thing. If he's born in New York and he's an American and he's not from here, listen, I was born in Canada and I grew up in the States. So I'm in the reverse. And now I'm back here in Canada. But see, I was born here in Toronto, right downtown, and I moved to Tallahassee when I was 4 years old. And I was raised in Tallahassee, Florida from the year of being 4 years old till I graduated from Florida State University. So in a lot of ways, I'm very American, but I've always been allegiance and diehard Canadian inside America, the very patriot Canadian. Instead, in some ways, I'm a more patriotic Canadian than Canadians here because I was dealt with the patriotic Americans around me, and I learned what patriotism was from them. So in the reverse, and silently in school, I was very much a very patriotic Canadian in the middle of America. And all these people are America this, America that. In fact, I got a lot of shit for standing up for Canada and being like around saying like they would dump on our country so much down there. And I was the butt of the joke. And I was the one who took all the shit there. And in some ways I'm more passionate about standing up for Canada than ever because of that upbringing in the United States, being the Canadian kid and taking all that shit. So in some ways, it's a weird situation where I learned patriotism from Americans, and in some ways, I'm more diehard patriot Canadian than the average Canadian. A lot of people don't care; they don't get into that kind of stuff, but I do. I definitely do. Let's see. La 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 la. All right, let's see. MSJ saying, and I don't know why Monique deleted that message, but let me see. I'm very happy that this Fred VanVleet point guard and Scottie's shooting guard combo is working. I thank Poeltl for it. And if SB and Fred can go after the 10 assists per night each, this team will be better. Need more shooting, though. Okay, I think she just mistakenly deleted that message. She didn't mean to do that. Okay, yeah, I like this. A more balanced like attack with the two kind of point guard attack with Scottie and Fred both getting a lot of assists. You know, we're going to see that kind of game at some point. It's not going to be regular, everyday kind of thing, but I'll bet you money at one point there's going to be a game where both Fred and Scottie have double digits in assists, that both of them get at least 10 assists in the same game. I could totally see that kind of thing happening. That would be a lot of fun. And I like seeing that. I love that they announced Scottie as a guard. At guard, number 4 from Florida State, Scottie Barnes. You know, he is a guard. He's playing shooting guard now. And we're getting all these great mismatches against people like Tyler Hero because he's a shooting guard now. And I love it. Fiercely saying, agreed with Cool Cat. Hence why I also suggested people should listen to get their own perspective. All right. All right. I mean, listen, honestly, if I could just cut out talking about the other channels, I will. And in fact, I'll maybe encourage you guys not to bring them up if you don't mind. We can talk about stuff. We don't need to talk about Chev. We don't need to talk about Pensair. And I'm perfectly happy with that. Seriously. If you guys don't bring him up, I won't talk about him. How about that? Well, I'll make a deal with you guys. Now, if somebody brings him up, you know what? Maybe I'll do. Maybe I'll make a rule for next season that we don't talk about these channels anymore, and that if you bring them up in the comment, I'm skipping your comment and I'm not answering it. How about that? We could maybe do that, because that'll be an easy way to just avoid all this. Because in some ways, I don't want to piss y'all off. If you're a Chev fan and I mischaracterize it, and it's not fair to me because I'm not exactly getting the right information from everybody on here. So in some ways, I don't want to piss y'all off in an unnecessary way, because I love Chev. I think he's amazing. And if I'm pissing y'all off because I'm talking about him or something, or people are saying that he's saying that Fred's greedy and he wants a bag, and I'm counterpoint, I'm not even attacking Chev. I'm just saying this is the real truth about Fred and his contract negotiations and what he wants. This is the real truth from the track record of the history of what he's done with Fred and Bobby and Masai. So like that, I'm fine with that, but I'm not trying to personally attack Chev. Have I personally attacked Chev at any point in this? No, I have not. I've just made a counterpoint to a possible thing that he may have said that somebody's saying that he did say, but I don't know if he said that for sure. And you're right. So maybe that will be the rule. Next season, maybe I'm going to come in and say, guys, this season we're not talking about any other channels. Even if we like them and they're great and stuff like that, I don't care what they're saying, because we spent way too much time this past season in bullshit talking about Robert Pensair. And I'm sick of it. And I don't want to do it anymore. It's a waste of time. So I may have that rule next year. It may be the best possible solution. In some ways, we do need to talk about what other people are saying, because it better informs the whole perspective of all of Raptors Nation. But in some ways, maybe not specific people so much. Maybe, I don't know. I want to try and really think about how to do this right. And also think about what Leslie said and trying to make that happen more too. Blackhawk saying it's Space Cadet. I don't watch. He shall not be named anymore to the group. Rico runs will be effective for Pascal because he's been there multiple years. Delano has only had 1 year in, so expect less. You know, Delano's just had a tough development year this year. He's had injuries. He hasn't been utilized properly between the 905 and the main roster. In fact, he didn't get enough time on the main roster, and he didn't get enough time on the 905 either. In fact, that was a big fail this year. Developing Delano Banton further this season has not gone well. We did such a good job last year. And last summer was amazing development summer for Delano, but we didn't take that springboard and utilize it in the season this year correctly. And in some ways, that is something that you could point at Nick Nurse being at fault at for. So, the runs are good regardless. The Rico Hines runs are good no matter what. And I look forward to them this summer also. Wayne's saying we continually look good when we limit isolation basketball. Pascal is still in the process of readjusting with a solid center. It's all looking good. 1 or 2 tweaks and we're there. I think Wayne's exactly right. That it could be just a couple of system adjustments, maybe a little bit of personnel adjustment, and boom, we're there. I think he's exactly right. Siakam's such an isolation kind of player. We really do need to get away from that. Like, if the next evolution of Pascal Siakam's game is going to be more of a team player, to be more integrated and more passing between each other, and not so like I'm going to put my head down, dribble and spin and try and do it all by myself. That the future is him and the break with Scottie dishing it to him and him catching it and dunking it. That is what I want to see more of. And well, you need to be ready to get that pass, Pascal. If that pass is coming to you right at the beginning of the game, you need to catch it and get it and throw it down. Because that was a beautiful play, and that was a really nice fast break, and you need to be ready for it now. You need to be ready right at the start of the game. I could tell you were not ready for the game yesterday. You came in casual, you had low energy, and they had to do a timeout and perk you up and get you ready. I wanted Nick to take you out, even though it was your birthday, and set you down and say, you're not playing with the right energy, Pascal. Because at both ends of the court, you were not showing that you're aware on the offensive end, and on the defensive end, you were being lazy also at the beginning of the game. I could see it. I could see it with my eye, and I didn't like it. And that's why I don't like Nick just blanketly giving those guys leash to play through, like being lazy and stuff. If somebody's being lazy out there, Nick, take them out and make an example and say, look, Siakam, I'm going to put you back in, but you need to know your effort's not exactly right now. I'm going to let you sit for a minute or two right now. I'm going to put you right back in, but you are not playing with the effort that you need to be playing with right now, is what I would have done if I was a coach in Nick Nurse's shoes at the beginning of the game. But he did respond, and he did get way better by the end of the game, of course, which is very, very good. Very, 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 very good. All right, let's see. Infamous is saying morning. It fell apart due to players coming in with individual agendas and not team agendas. OG, Defensive Player of the Year. Pascal, top 5. Fred, paid. Now, I don't agree with this, Infamous. I don't think that's exactly true. I think it fell apart with injuries. It fell apart with confusion. It fell apart with a game plan that we had set up for the season that was an absolute failure, that didn't work with what happened with this in the season, and that we've been scrambling ever since to try and get answers and figure out what works and what should happen. And we've done so much scrambling that we went and got a starting center at the trade deadline. That in a lot of ways we did so much scrambling. We were just trying to catch up and fix things that have been broken all season, is what we've been doing this whole year. So I don't believe this. I don't believe that the OG Defensive Player of the Year is an agenda that got in the way of things that happened with us this season. No. Pascal wanting to be a top 15 player in the league, no, that didn't get in the way. And Fred, it did not get in the way with the money either. I'm just going to disagree with you, Infamous. Mike saying, MSJ, the looks that Fred gets and Scottie gets are different and has certain advantages against different defenses. The multiple looks and rhythm attacking can push winning with the attackers and Poeltl. Well, they're different players. They're different heights. They have different skills. Fred has experience and a lot of time invested in learning and playing in the NBA. Scottie doesn't. But Scottie has a raw talent and a vision on the court that's really good also, that is absolutely astounding, is going to get better and better. So in some ways, they do see the floor different with their court vision, and how they get assists is in a different style. And in some ways, that diversity is a very good strength for the Raptors. That in some ways you can have Fred this kind of distributor and you can have Scottie this kind of distributor. And that's good. That's all a good thing. And I like it. And sometimes you will see more of one or the other depending on what the defense and things are happening with the other team. And that is a big part of why it all gets decided. Once again, I'll hit you guys over the head with this over and over again. The reason why guys get shots, who's scoring more, who's passing more, who's doing what, is dictated a lot of times by the other team and what they're doing with their matchups. And that's all we need to know. Blackhawk is saying Mobley needs to make more before getting a supermax, but I'm good with the 3 supermax per team. Besides, Mobley is not a trade player for Cavs since he was drafted by them. The 2 supermax rule is wrong. Yeah, I mean, I just don't like how fishy it is with the timing to help them right in that exact instance. In some ways, there things about the CBA won't help us with Fred and Gary because of the timing of everything with the extensions, unfortunately, is what I'm hearing. But in this case, this will help them with the Evan Mobley signing. And I don't like that. I don't like hearing that like the NBA is kind of bending backwards to help certain teams with certain things, because that's what this seems like. Comma Crazy's here. Pensare been to more games than Chev. Well, that's true. Yeah, Pensare's been more games for sure because he's here, right? And Chev is in New York, and he's never been to a Raptors game in Toronto. He may have been to one in New York against the Knicks, but I don't think he's ever crossed the border or even come into Canada. I'm not even sure about that with NBA Chev. So sure, I can say that. Are you standing up for him, Camera Crazy? Are you a Pensareite? Mike saying, I trust Alvin to know what's the deal. The reporter got the games wrong. It's not as clear as it should be, period of the story. Yeah, I trust them to know better too. All right, Mike. Once again, you're clarifying the clarifying. All right, let's see. Why did this happen that Monique deleted all of MSJ's comments? We'll just read them anyway. At Logical Raptors Fanatic, that is what I'm seeing too. 2 ways of attacking out of the backcourt can only make us more dangerous. 100% love it and agree with you. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I think she just mishit something by accident with her mod status. So MSJ, don't take that personally that Monique has deleted your messages. I will make sure you get read anyway. See, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's exactly what I just said. That makes us more stronger with the diversification of attack with passers. Monique is saying, W stream all around, Lex. Keep at it. Let's go, Raptors. Always togetherness. Let's stay climbing and stay locked in. All right, in 3 hours, I'm going to start wrapping it up. Blackhawk saying, please, Lex, never say I'm standing up for he who shall not be named. I don't watch him anymore out of respect for your site. I don't bring him up. Why give him time on your space? All right, well, this sounds like this is what we should be. This sounds like what we should be. I'm fine with that. I mean, I may very much do this rule next year. And in some ways, I may just ignore people that bring them in here. Because listen, I have very long stream times. And if we could cut out their section of the parts and stuff, I'd be fine with that. As long as it's friendly and positive, I don't mind talking about Chev. Seriously, we love Chev in this nation. But Robert, that's a little bit different. Maybe we could cut out him and really, really, really take this to heart. Maybe I will have a real penalty for people that bring him up here on this channel. Then instead of just a real swear jar, if we've had, well, maybe we have some sort of thing that we punish people for bringing him up here. Something new. Maybe it'll be fun and it won't be something too bad, but maybe there'll be a duty you have to do to ingratiate yourself back in with us when you do that. Because Camera Crazy saying Chev and Pensair are both fire. I like the back and forth. That's funny. Camera Crazy, go put me on blast on their channels, please. Go in there and tell them about the Raptors freak and tell them that you want to see a triple threat three-way match. If they're going to have the back and forth, bam, between them, tell them that a new person has entered the chat and bring me in there and let me go in the three-way triple match with them. And actually what it'll turn into is me just double teaming Pensair with Chef. That's exactly what that would turn into if I was involved in a triple threat match with those guys. It would become a handicap match, and we would beat the shit out of Robert. That's what we would do. Yeah. Infamous is saying the problem with he who shall not be named is you have casual fans regurgitating his nonsense. That is the problem with perception. That's the problem with Fox News. That's the problem with all kinds of different things in this world right now is people follow really bad people to follow. And Robert is one of those people. And they regurgitate exactly what you're saying, Infamous. You're exactly right. And that's part of the problem. So in some ways, we can hear the sayings or the things that he's saying, and somebody can come in. If they don't mention them, they just say it. We can deal with that take on its own and not have him married to it. It may very well be that I train myself not to read anything that has to do with him and block it on the chat. And I'll just be ignoring more comments in certain ways. And people will realize why down the road. Maybe new people like Kama Crazy, who are kind of Pensair people, will come in and try and bring him up. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm not falling for that. Or maybe you guys, as my mods, can see whenever there's something down the road in the chat that is alluding to him, even if it's saying something like he who shall not be named or any of this kind of whatever his moniker or whatever alias he's using on that day, you guys could go ahead and suss them all out and weed them out of the chat before I even get to them. If you see that word Pensair, maybe I could just like do a block like Scottie did on the day that the Kevin Durant trade demands came out. He blocked Kevin Durant, the word, from being used on his Twitch. So maybe I'm just going to have to make a word list that you can't even write into my chat, that it is banned. So maybe I'll do that. That might work. Who knows? Isaac's saying maybe Tom Duke knows how we can make casual fans stare at walls again. Hilarious. You guys are funny. All right, let's see. Mike's saying infamous facts. I went 20 comments with the guy just getting mad at Masai and using that logic to come at Masai with there's no convincing certain people now. It's ultimately damaging to the Raps, though, in my opinion. Well, hopefully they just shut it all off. Seriously, if I was in the NBA, I would be Kawhi Leonard. I would not have any social media. I would live blissfully ignorant of all the stupid shit that's said anywhere on any online spaces. I wouldn't do it. I may have my own personal accounts and interact with my own inner circle, small, but I wouldn't have it where I could interact with everybody. I wouldn't have it where I had a Twitter where somebody could send me messages like Chris Boucher got messages. I'd cut off all that access with people. In fact, that made me wonder about Scottie. Like we talk about this, like what Chris got that message from that ugly message. We think about all the ugliness between fans and the players. No wonder Scottie doesn't want to do Twitch anymore. No wonder he doesn't want to be in certain places as out there and connected with us as much because the fans are out of pocket and they're acting stupid. And I get it. If I was in the NBA, I wouldn't want to interact with all the fans on social media either. Fiercely saying, agreed for not mentioning other channels. You have more than enough content and topics of discussion to hold our 3-hour marathon for sure. Coming up on 3 hours of it. Thank you. So Fiercely's voting for no mentioning of the other channels. All right. I'm going to seriously consider this. And I'll ask the people in my moderation team to maybe help me with this in the future. Then maybe we won't do it this season. We'll keep the rules the way they are. But as things evolve, maybe this summer we'll start practicing it so that next season we don't waste so much time with this. I appreciate y'all's feedback. It does help me improve this channel and improve what you guys like about it also. And that's important to me. I want this channel to be what more like what you guys like too. Monique saying, yeah, it was by accident, MSJ. My bad. No problem, Monique. No problem at all. Seriously, I understand and it's all good. I'm sure that MSJ was not upset about that. and it's all good, Monique. You're all good. Leslie's saying, thank you for being so respectful to the ladies on your channel. It's nice to have a place as a female fan to be taken seriously. Shout out to Sue, Mo, Granny Evelyn, Kelly, and all the ladies that I forget. Fiercey, Sarah, Lolita, Summer Lowe. We've had so many great, strong female voices in this channel, and I truly, awesomely value you guys so much. I really, really do. And in fact, I wonder about places like other places where how much you guys get your chance to say stuff without getting like bullshit, like a toxic masculinity or any kind of like, well, what do you know? You know, that kind of stuff historically in sports, you know, where like the guys are like, it's a clubhouse, it's guys only. The girls can't come in here and talk about sports. What are you doing? No, we don't want that. We don't want that here, definitely. And in fact, some of the best opinions and the best contributions to this channel come from women like you, Leslie. So I really do appreciate you shouting out everybody else too, like Sue and everybody. Awesome. Awesome. You go, ladies. And I love that y'all are here. And I want more of y'all to come here, more young ladies and more involvement in everything. It doesn't matter if it's men's basketball or women's basketball. Women can love men's basketball and men can love women's basketball and vice versa in every which way in all kinds of ways. Just love basketball. Just love. No more hate. That's what we're saying today. Smooth saying, Mavs thinking about shutting down Luka and Kyrie, going for the lottery pick. If it's top 10, it stays with Dallas. If not, it's Brooklyn. Wow. Wow, Mark Cuban. What have you gotten yourself into at this point? Is this what you wanted, Mark Cuban? I don't think this is what you wanted. I think that everything's been a disaster this season. And in fact, I'm really worried about Luka. Luka has been saying recently this is the least fun he's ever had playing basketball in his entire life since they traded for Kyrie. That is not fun right now. And that's not a good sign, Mark Cuban. You don't want Luka Doncic unhappy. He's the one you should care about the most. Fiercely saying, yes, Vision 6-9 was a fail. We got plagued with injuries. At some point, led the league with the 18th starting lineup combination. Jakob's arrival was what we needed. Refreshing. Yeah. You know, I don't like that it's totally a fail. In some ways, it is a success. In short bursts, the positionless lineup is very effective. It's just in some ways, maybe you don't go so overboard, Bobby Webster, with so many 6'9" guys that are kind of similar. You know, in some ways, last summer, our roster was crazy. It really was a wings menu. And maybe we need to balance it a little bit more with guys on each end, tall guys and little guys too. And yeah, it's an interesting situation. You know, we did have a lot of issues this year, and Jakob has been absolutely a godsend and fantastic for us. And I'm so happy he's back with us. Infamous is saying the individual agenda comment was said by OG. He stated the team's playing better because they got away from it. Okay, once again, I'm going to say this. I don't think that he means what you think he means. He's not meaning like the defensive player of the year or the top 5 for Pascal or the money or any of that. I think he means like playing together more on the court. Once again, I really look at like there's two different worlds. There's the off-court agenda stuff that you're talking about, but then there's the on-court stuff that is more like I think it applies to more. Because they're not going to talk about the off-court stuff as likely. They're not likely to. They're working about their work on the court. And when he says they are playing better because they are playing more as a team, not as an individual agenda, I think it's more that they got more sharing on the court. There's more assists happening. There's more distributing and setting guys up instead of just like one-on-one isolation kind of play that Pascal and Fred really like spearheaded for the last few years for our offense. That we've been shifting more from those kind of isolation, kind of half-court plays to being more sharing the ball, pick and rolls, and playing off of each other. And that's something that I wanted from the beginning of the year, but they didn't do it for a good chunk of the first half of the year. And that is the difference that OG may be talking about. That once again, instead of focusing on off-the-court issues and the comments that people are making in interviews, let's look on the court and apply it, what they're saying to what they're saying on the court. Unless he said it in a way that makes it very clear he's talking about off the court, I would read into it as it being on the court is what he means. Do you understand kind of what I'm saying, Infamous? As far as the distinction between like possibly what OG means? Let's see. MSJ saying at Monique, I'm not worried. Been saying what I feel is right. Hope your hand gets better. Yeah, sometimes this just happens. She has spasms. She has CP. And she might have just hit the keyboard by accident. So don't take it personally at all. So it definitely was totally an accident. She did not intend to do that to you. Leslie saying, sorry, Callie, autocorrect. That's right, Callie, not Kelly. Callie Mayer, our stress meter with Callie, yeah. Let's see. Blackhawk saying we need to make Chuck Norris jokes about Kawhi, such as Kawhi is so oblivious he takes rain as tears from heaven. Actually, I really like this idea. The Chuck Norris line of jokes is pretty funny. And Kawhi could actually do a pretty funny line of it. It wouldn't be the exact same kind of motif of toughness as Chuck Norris is the tough motif. Maybe a Kawhi's motif is obliviousness, or like just not being like not with it, but just being very powerful and strong anyway. I like that idea, Blackhawk. Do Kawhi jokes. You might get some dunks on our dunk list if you can make some really creative, funny Kawhi jokes. That's awesome. Mike saying Masai, when rated against his peers, is tops. That doesn't mean he's God and everything works. It's about continuing to work on things over time and still trying to find ways of making the raps better. Yes, and yes, Mike. Masai's not infallible. He does make mistakes. He does make errors, but he makes a lot less of them. In fact, I would say he's like 90% right and gets things right 90% of the time. Some people may argue with that's a little high, but that's the way I look at it. I really do feel like he makes mostly good decisions. But yeah, in some ways, I just trust him because he's been such a good track record for 10 years now that he is an absolutely a good thing for the Raptors team. Has been so good for our team, and I just appreciate him so much for making the Raptors more and more relevant as time goes on. Fiercely saying thank you to Leslie and a heart and everything. I just love sharing the love. That's right. I'm getting rid of that word today because Leslie said so. I'm going to get rid of that H word. I really am. Monique saying hand spasms are her daily life. Yeah, unfortunately, MSJ, this is something she's going to have to deal with every day. I know with Adriana, she has CP also, and she has spasms she can't control with her left side at all, too. This is good. We're going to bring some awareness to cerebral palsy and that people deal with these kind of things. And that it's, it's something that I think it was Awareness Month last month for CP. And we did talk about it a little bit since Monique deals with CP, and so does Adriana. So I know a lot about this. In fact, I had a neighbor that I grew up across the street from when I was a kid named Mr. Harder, who had a very tough case of CP. But you know what? He was married. He had kids. He drove a car. He had a very, very severe case where it was very much tough for him to walk in certain ways. But he still was like a regular dad in our neighborhood. And as a young kid in Florida growing up and seeing the example of him with CP, it was a really good example for me to know that people like this can do whatever they want. They're not limited. That somebody like Monique is exactly a good example of this. She's living her best life no matter what. And that's what Mr. Harder did too back then. Rest in peace. He passed last year and it was really sad for me. But he is somebody that was such a good role model for me as far as showing that you can have a disability and you can have a life that is rich and full and you do just as much as everybody else. And that was very strong a thing that they taught me when I was very young. It was a good lesson for a young man like me as a kid to see have somebody to look up to that had CP like that. So yeah, it's something she has to deal with every day, unfortunately. But you know what? She's thriving with her everything that she's doing in her life. Don't ever feel sorry for Monique because she's a badass and she has an amazing life as a super fan for the Raptors. She really does. Mike's saying, like, we need Fred in certain spots to take or not take certain shots, just like Masai in the front office with the roster. And he's the guy with the high percentage with high picture decisions. W Stream. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. And WU being here with us. We always appreciate your presence, Mike. We really do. Yeah, I like that take on Masai. And listen, he's got the big picture. There's a lot of things that he knows about 5 years from now, maybe 2 years from now that we don't. There's things that he's thinking about way ahead of time and making sure we're in the best possible position to be flexible to do whatever we need to do at that time. And that's why I trust in Masai. All right, let's see. Blackhawk's got one of them here. Kawhi is so oblivious, he takes Norm's lucky comment as a sign that Norm is a rabbit's foot. Okay, that might have missed the mark just slightly, but I kind of get what you're trying to do there. All right, real quick wrap up. My 3 stars for the game last night. Fred VanVleet breaking a franchise record, 20 assists for us, 20 and 20 game for Freddie. We love you. Such a great job. The haters going to hate. Let them hate. The lovers going to love. We love you, Fred. And Pascal, 36 points. A really, really strong effort as the game went on. As I said, you didn't start very well, but you really picked it up and you did a fantastic job as the game gets on. Really proud of you, Siakam. You're awesome. What a great birthday. Third star, OG Anunoby. Fantastic job at free three-point line. 5 of 6 from the three. Fantastic job. Poeltl very close coming up after that with a very strong effort also. Scottie was fine. He was solid. He did what he needed to do. He didn't make too many mistakes, but, he wasn't the main guy. But he was a very good, solid starter for us last night also. Boucher and Achu off the bench, fine. They were okay. And we got a lot of garbage time for different guys like Malachi and Delano, and Joe Weezy and Ron Harper got out there. Koloko solid in 16 minutes with 6 points, 3 offensive rebounds. And then Jeff Dowtin Jr. didn't do a whole lot in the 10 minutes he was out there, but he did get 4 assists. On the other side, I'm going to give a little bit of shine to Svi Mahalik getting his career high points at 26. Williams, that rookie at center, very impressive double-double. And then Kai Jones off the bench. That guy is an athletic freak. That dude can get up there. Trust me. He is going to be something else as a player going on. No games today because they have the national championship game for the March Madness. So there is no standings watch for today. We are still currently tied with Atlanta, and we are in the play-in no matter what. We will not fall out of it, and we will not get out of it. So we will be playing a play-in game. We clinched it yesterday. All right. That is pretty much my stream for today. I really appreciate everybody hanging with me for over 3 hours for a reaction to a great Charlotte Hornets game, one that will go down in the history books, even if it wasn't the most impressive opponent. This is an important game in the history of the Raptors. 2020 game from Fred VanVleet. You go, Fred, and make those haters hate you even more because you're shining and excelling and being the badass that you are. You go, Fred. We love you so much. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if we've learned anything today, I'm going to cut out the other content and talking about them too much. Because honestly, what's the point? I'm with you on that. And maybe we'll just stop talking about them all around. I'm with you on that. Seriously. Now, if you want to go to those other channels and put me on blast, some people put them on blast here, please go ahead. Do it. Maybe some people will come back and come and find the channel and watch me also. And maybe, you'll get the attention of Chef. And maybe he'll finally come and look at the Raptors Freak channel or something like that. Who knows? But I appreciate every single one of y'all, especially the ladies. Y'all give such a good contribution. You give us a fair and balanced kind of perspective. In some ways, listen, I don't want this to be a boys' club. I don't want this to be like a place where, we're men, blah, 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 blah. I want us to be from all walks of life, all kinds of people, everybody in all respects represented here. And that is very important to me, the equality of our voices in this chat. All right, y'all, have a great Monday, and I'll be back tomorrow for the preview for the second game against the Charlotte Hornets. Let's take care of business, Raptors, and get that 40th win of this tumultuous 500 season. We got to get back to over 500, and then we can, we get 2 more wins. Let's do it. Let's get 500 for the season. We got good goals to set. Nick Nurse is back, baby. He's back in Karen, and he's showing some fire towards the reporters. I love that. Thank you, Nick, for showing that you cared to me once again. That's all I needed to know, was that you actually care and that you didn't turn off for the rest of the season already. I needed to know that you're still in it to win it. All right, y'all, let's have a great day, and let's go